You think this is a surprise? How about that? Anyways, hi guys. Yeah. Well, today got a little out of hand. Didn't help that with Nick. Holy cow, we went all freaking night. And even after the stream was over, him and I talked for a little bit about some YouTube stuff, and geez, I didn't get done till about 7:30 this morning. So it's been kind of a long day. Been a very long day already. So I just thought, guys, we had a couple more minutes to hang around. I gotta redo my thumbnail for this bad boy. Yeah, a little different than normal, but it's good. And I will say it was very kind of touching to see how well him and his wife get along and how they riff. And it sounds like something he's been wanting to do for a long time. So, um, Lyoya. All right, there we go. Layers. Flatten that image. I'll save as. All right. Well, we got a bunch of people already. Holy cow. Hey, everybody. Yeah, last day was interesting. It was good overall. Yes, claw. Yep, I just literally started. Was still getting ready going. Oh, Jim, thank you. That's awesome. I just saw your. Oh, I just see that too. Oh, cool. Thank you. Heads up on that. All right. Ending. Oh, there we go. All right. Wow, there is. Oh, thank you, Necromancer. I appreciate that. All right. Oh, I gotta finish up this damn thing. Load thumbnail. And I think we're all set. And it's still not 10 o'clock. Perfect timing. Panzer Dude, thank you. Hope everybody's doing well. All right. So, yesterday we got through part of the Christopher Schurr preliminary hearing. Tonight we're going to finish up part 2. Remember, this is going to be decided on Monday by the judge. And you've heard me say this, and I also know that Robert Barnes has said this more cynically, but a preliminary hearing does not really serve the purpose it used to do. This actually is kind of one of the few times where it's gone to knock down, drag out issues with some of the evidence. And I think there's enough here to show there isn't enough probable cause. But you have to remember, probable cause is like maybe 30%, if that. You could think of beyond a reasonable doubt as like 85, 90% sure, maybe even more. But probable cause is a very, very low standard. It's lower than preponderance of the evidence. It's lower than clear and convincing. It is a very low threshold that we think this is likely. And now, obviously, there's some issues. The guy's dead, and he shot him. That's not contested. So then it turns into, was it justified? And that's why I think the judge may be forced to let it go to the grand jury, and then he may have to duke it out in court. So, and I just realized I don't have my headphones here, so this is not going to work too well. So we're going to get a chair stream for a second. Those? Okay. Oh, God. I know I'm on stream. All right. Okay, so this is the defense's turn. This is a forensic video analyst. And it'll be interesting to see what he talks about, guys. So here we go.
Robert McFarlane, ROBERTMCFARLANE.
Whenever you're ready. Thank you, Mr. McFarland. What do you do for a living?
I'm a forensic video analyst,
What is a forensic video analyst?
someone who studies video for comparison, evaluation, and/or examination in criminal or legal matters.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yes, so I'm a retired police officer from Oakland, California. While I was a police officer, I served in the capacity of a patrol officer, undercover narcotics officer, beat health, sort of civil investigations. From there, I became a private investigator. I've been doing that for a number of years, for about 10 years before I started doing video analysis. Video analysis is something I've been doing as a sole practitioner since about 2018.
What kind of training do you have to get into this video?
Your Honor, for purposes of prelim, I have no objection to stipulating to his expertise in the field of video analysis.
All right.
Thank you for that stipulation. I'll move it along.
Very good.
So you were asked in this case to do an analysis of some videos related to an incident that occurred on April 4th of this year, right?
Correct.
Okay. Please tell us, what were you asked to do? What was the scope?
So I was provided some video that was provided to you in discovery. It was a dash cam video from Officer Schurr's patrol car, his body worn camera video, and as well a bystander cell phone video recording. And I was asked to put those three videos on one screen to create a synchronized exhibit so that you don't have to open up individual videos. You have them all on the screen at the same time.
Okay. So you have three separate videos and you want to put them all on the same screen, but when you say sync, what do you mean?
So the first thing I did was I extracted the audio files because audio files, they sample at 44,000 times a second, so they're more accurate. So you synchronize the three audio files, then you take...
Before you even go on to that, what do you mean by synchronize?
Oh, synchronize. Get them, well, in sync. For instance, when there's an action, in this particular matter, there was a taser discharge, there was a door slam, there was a gunshot fired. These are all points that all of the video, the audio that was in the video was captured. And so you synchronize those using a software program. You match the waveform so that you know at the same time the sound happens in each three, that you have all of the three audio tracks essentially playing the same thing at the same time.
So the advantage there is we can look at one screen and see exactly what's happening from three different vantage points.
That's correct. So that would be the video portion of it, and that's where you match the actions. You have the audio. You know how long the audio is for the anchor clip, which in this matter was the body-worn camera. So then you match the actions that you see. You create what I call synchronization points, and you're able to see those in the video to show the accuracy of the synchronization.
So were you able to successfully create one video that has all three videos combined that are perfectly synchronized?
Yes.
Some of you guys are asking, does Michigan have a stand your ground law? Not in the sense that you get to have an early hearing in a criminal case and the court makes a decision right away. Michigan does not have that. Michigan does not have a duty to retreat, though, and it's got pretty good self-defense laws, but it does not have a stand your ground law in the sense of, like in Florida, where you could have an early type of hearing early in your case and have a mini trial. If I am wrong, though, someone be happy to correct me. I'll be happy to be correct on that then.
At this time, Your Honor, I'm going to move the admission of defense exhibit A, which,
No objection.
All right. Exhibit A, let me submit it.
and if Mr. McFarlane, if you could put that on the big screen. Describe to the judge what we're looking at here that's been marked and admitted as defense exhibit A.
So what's on the screen is the video player called QuickTime. On the top left is a black screen. That's where the dash cam video will come on after 6 frames. That's the activation time difference between the body-worn camera and the dash cam. The lower video is the body-worn camera, indicated by Schurr, SCHURRBWC. And then on the right, and I'll just scrub it forward so you can see, because the cell phone video came on at a little later time. So we have on the right, I called it the bystander video. So if you look at the 2 videos on the left, at the very top, and it's yellow, we have AFN, and I call that the absolute frame number. So for this particular video, the dash cam video, at this point that it's on the screen, it's at absolute frame number 4261. We go down to Schurr BWC, body-worn camera, it's at 4271. And then if we look over at the cell phone camera, it came on a little later. It's at absolute frame number 126. In the center, we have the time of day, and I added milliseconds to that because the Axon and cell phone video don't have a clock overlay that includes milliseconds. And it's important because if you have 30 frames a second, you need to know at the time the frames come on, which frame it is.
What do you mean 30 frames a second?
So the camera, when it's recording, it essentially takes 30 images per second. Each one of these are 30 frames per second. That's the playback rate.
Okay, so you have it down to the millisecond, which is the 0.504 AM in what's displayed right now.
Correct.
What's the RFN 4271?
So that's the relative frame number. So when you look at the video, we have AFN, which is absolute frame number in yellow for each individual camera. The relative frame number is the number of the frame relative to the overall matrix.
So that's sort of the master frame.
That's correct. For this exhibit, yes.
So you mentioned that you were able to successfully synchronize the video. Can you provide us an example of how you were able to do that?
Sure. Just gonna look at my notes here. So what I'm gonna do is take this to the video to relative frame number 3106. And I'm just gonna zoom in just to show, because sometimes these are difficult to see. You look at the the car that Mr. May I call him Patrick?
It's easier for you, but
Okay. He has his hand near the door, and I'm going to advance it 2 frames. So you can see that the shiny part right in the center of the image is the door. And as I advance it, the door starts to close. It's a little bit open, and now it's closed all the way. So when I go back 2 frames, and I go back down to the body-worn camera, you see the door open. I go 2 frames, it's closed. And so when I go out all the way, you can see that frame number, a relative frame number 3108 is the synchronization point for the body-worn camera.
No, some states call that special hearing a stand your ground hearing. Some states call it an immunity hearing. There is a difference. Every state is different in that regard. So I use the parlance the way I understand them when you typically look at things. The idea of that's typically, yes, people use it generically saying a stand your ground law means you don't have a duty to retreat. Fine. But in many states, a stand your ground hearing is a specific type of hearing, which is the immunity. So once again, it's like potato, potato. It's got names all over the place. Nobody has a standard name. But yes, there is no criminal immunity hearing where you can short circuit a prosecution. There's only civil immunity in certain situations.
And the dash cam. And then when we want to look at the synchronization point for the cell phone, we'll go to relative frame number 5757. Okay, so here we are at 5757. Up in the right corner, we see Officer Schurr and Patrick on the ground. If I advance it, single frame, you see the right foot of Officer Schurr get closer to the left foot that's on the ground of Mr. Lyoya. As I go closer, forward more, we get right here, we can see Officer Schurr's foot is right adjacent to Mr. Lyoya's left foot on the ground. If I go down, we're talking, this is relative frame number 5758 now. We're going to go down to the body-worn camera and advance it 1 frame. And now you see at the bottom of the image, the toe of Officer Schurr's foot. And if I go again, we see him tap the ground. So I go back and it's off the image. I go forward, we see at relative frame number 560, that's the synchronization point. And I could show, if we go back on the overall, back to 5758, go forward, 5760. Now you can tell the 3 videos are synchronized.
okay. So that's how you went about synchronizing the video.
That's correct.
All right. So let's go back to the beginning of the synchronized video. And I'd like to walk through and talk about some of your analysis of the video itself.
Sure.
Now, with the software you're using, you're able to actually expand, stop, and create a still shot. And
That's correct.
Focus on things that are happening in the synchronized video.
That is correct.
Can you explain that process?
So if I minimize, there's this program here. It's a software program called AMPed-5. 5 stands for Forensic Imaging Video Enhancement. This is probably the world leader in forensic video software. It's accepted worldwide in many courts and many legal matters. It's relied on for a lot of forensic video analysis. So what I did was pulled the video into here. The video you just watched, this is the same video. And through this process, to enhance, there are certain steps, and of course we'll do that here. But what we do, I open a PowerPoint program. That's my name, direct testimony. All I do is minimize it. And so just to show you how it works, we have this image if we're talking about this particular frame, and we want to annotate something. For instance, we want to make this larger. We can even really make it larger. And then you just do a couple of boxes and lines to indicate where that came from. What I do is I click down here on the snapshot, and that goes right there in.
Okay, one of you guys just mentioned the whole pinch to zoom thing. This is part of what you have to do if you're trying to establish how you're not necessarily manipulating an exhibit or footage, but showing how you can extrapolate, show different views. Like he wanted to show that was a bigger view. He's showing you how the software works, and he has to show the court why the software works, how it works, because the judge has no idea. And this is part of it's almost kind of like an informal Dauber hearing, where the expert's displaying his knowledge and displaying what he uses and how it works. Daily Donkey says zooming in does manipulate the photo. Yes, but when you say manipulate, it does give people the idea that you've done something wrong or hinky to it. But that's not the case here. There's no hinkiness to it at all. But it's just showing how you establish how these things are done.
To a PowerPoint presentation. So if you needed to present that, it would be right there for everyone to see.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to start playing the video. If you could minimize that amplification there. And let it play. If you can stop it right there. Doesn't seem to be a lot of noise.
That's correct.
Do you know why that is?
So the Axon Fleet dash camera and the Axon body worn camera, they have what they refer to as a pre-record buffer. And basically the camera is recording all of the time. It starts recording audio the second the officer hits the activation button. So for instance, the camera and the dash camera were not activated by Officer Schurr at this point. They were activated 30 seconds later. And so what happens is when the officer hits activate, the audio starts at that point and it reaches back and grabs the last 30 seconds of video images.
What we're seeing is the 30 seconds preceding when Officer Schurr hit his cam.
Correct.
Keep playing.
So I'll pause that just to point out down in the bottom here, the time, I was just a hair off when I hit pause, but roughly 30 seconds is the pre-record button.
Consistent with the camera that goes back 30 seconds.
Correct.
9613. Nelson, 4 degrees, Edward King Hall, 9367. Hey, stay in the car!
If you can stop there, please. Could you focus in on the individual who is exiting the car?
Yes.
And if you could.
So that's RFN 1302,
1302.
and I'm going to check the PowerPoint. And it did extract, so it's in the PowerPoint.
Mayor, what I'd like to do is go through and make some highlights of certain parts of the video, the court's consideration. And after I do that, I would like to move all those highlights in as one group exhibit, or I can do it with each one.
All right, Mr. Becker, any objection to that process, and certainly reserve any objection to sure mission of it.
I have no objection. This is
Oh.
fine.
And certainly, Your Honor, Mr. McFarland's available if anybody else has a question for him. Make a snapshot in court with Mr. Becker. Because he's building it right on the stand. Okay, you continue playing.
Get in the car! Stay in the car! Get in the car! Dude, I'm stopping you. You have a license? You have a license? I'm stopping you. You have a license? You have a driver's license. Do you speak English?
Yes.
Can I see your license?
What are you doing?
The plate doesn't belong on this car. Do you have a license or not? Do you have a driver's license? Where is it at? Yeah, this one. The plate does not belong in this car. No. Stop. Put your hands down. Stop.
You go back to the incident, in particular, I want you to focus on as you did the forensic analysis. Were you able to find an incident where technically strikes back off the shirt?
Yes.
Okay. Please focus on that, I believe it's 3241.
$32.41 is the relative frame number of where the contact initiated.
Okay.
To go forward. So I'm stopping at a relative frame number 3319, and you can't really see it very well. They're kind of pixelated when you blow them up in the dash cam video. But what we can see in the body worn camera video at frame number 3319 is the left closed fist of Mr. Lyoya and Officer Schurr's left hand holding the left wrist of Mr. Lyoya and Officer Schurr's right hand over top reaching for or appears to be in contact with the right arm of Mr. Lyoya.
Can you make a snapshot of that?
Yes. Let me make sure it went over. RFN 3319 is slide number 4. Now I'll advance it frame at a time. I'll stop here at 3331. We see Officer Schurr reaching forward and grabbing the fabric of the shirt of Mr. Lyoya, and I'll grab that one for you. You see Officer Schurr's left hand on the shirt, the front of the shirt, and you see his right hand reaching toward Mr. Lyoya. And as I go forward, we see the two hands of Officer Schurr reaching towards Mr. Lyoya, and you see Mr. Lyoya's right and left hand up in the area of the top of the image reaching toward Officer Schurr. And as I advance it, You see the right arm of Mr. Lyoya and the left arm of Officer Schurr at the top of the body-worn camera, image 3339. And I'll continue forward. Now the hands of Mr. Schurr coming together, and on the forearm of Officer Schurr, you see the knuckles of, and I'll magnify this one for you, Mr. Lyoya, right here. And I just magnified that 3 times. And that's frame number 3340. Continuing forward. Now we see Officer Schurr's left hand go towards his right hand again in 3341. 3342, we see the left hand and the right hand of the 2 gentlemen are in contact. Schurr's left arm is retracting towards his body. 3343, we have, again, the hands are in contact. Now, Mr. Lyoya is free from Officer Schurr in 3344. That was where the contact came, where the hands were pushed away. Officer Schurr's hands were pushed away by Mr. Lyoya.
Continue playing the video, please. If you could blow up the dash cam, there appeared to be an individual who we now know is Mr. Butler. Is he there yet? Or did I
Not yet.
go too early? Keep going. You have it blown up and still go forward?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Now we have him at relative frame number 3848. The individual in the white t-shirt. I'll put a
Keep going forward.
red arrow pointing to him.
If you could go at normal speed.
Play.
Stop! Stop! Get your hands behind your back, okay? Hands behind your back!
If you could take down the application. We have the third video now.
Correct.
Can you tell us what relative frame number the third video appears?
Yes. I'm backing up the video. So if you see at the bottom of the cell phone video, we have absolute frame number 1 right there. And RFN 4146 is the input or start point for the cell phone bystander video.
And how much time has elapsed?
From when?
From the start of the video until the passenger video comes in?
2 minutes, 18 seconds, .166. And I'll show you that's here in the bottom. So we have on this forensic software, we have a timer. 2 minutes, 18 seconds, .166 shows the time into the video.
And could you go further along in the video, please?
Sure.
I want you to stop at the point where the officer calls for backup.
Okay. That's roughly within 5 or 6 frames where Officer Schurr activated his handheld radio to call for more backup.
Was that beep?
Yes, the beep happens when he keyed the microphone.
Okay, if you could go frame at a time,
Yes.
a little bit further. We can't hear the sound of that, can we? When you go frame by frame?
No, you just hear what's attached to that frame, which is that.
Okay, if you could stop there and make a screenshot
Okay.
and blow up
The contact.
the passenger video with contact. And you could include Mr. Butler as well.
So here we are at RFN 4655. And I have that snapshot.
And this is where Officer Schurr had requested backup.
Correct.
This wasn't the first time he had requested backup. He notified them at his station that he had one run.
Yes,
And that is earlier, correct?
correct.
You've watched this video many times now.
Correct.
At some point, Officer Schurr loses control of Captain Lyoya, where Mr. Lyoya is able to stand up.
Yes.
Does it coincide with when he?
As soon as the left hand pulled the radio, went up for to key the mic, that's when Mr. Lyoya started to stand.
If you could play the video forward, to the point where Mr. Lyoya is on his feet.
Relative frame number 4804.
And if you could enhance that, please. Or
Magnify.
Magnify, not enhance. And just so the record's clear, you didn't change any of the videos or do anything to it to make it clear or anything like that, other than blow it up.
That's correct. I made no enhancements, no adjustment levels, nothing to any of these videos. And this is relative frame number 4804. This is captured in the PowerPoint.
Okay. Now, how much time elapsed between the time that Officer Schurr yelled, "Stay in the car," to this point where he is now up on the front lawn?
Approximately 2 minutes.
And when you watch the video, were you keeping track of how many commands the officer was giving Mr. Lyoya?
Yes.
At this point, in that 2 minute span, how many commands has Officer Schurr given Mr. Lyoya?
20.
During that 2 minute time, did you see any compliance?
I did not.
During your analysis of the video, did you ever see Mr. Lyoya comply with any commands?
No. There was an attempt that when he opened the door and asked the passenger to get his license, when he said, "Get it for me."
How many times did Officer Schurr request backup
twice. To this point, he's requested backup twice. And I would say, as a caveat, as a police officer, the first notification to dispatch that he had one running northbound, he did not say, "I need help." But as a police officer, and anybody who's in uniform knows when somebody's running, you have to get there and help them.
So you would expect someone to show up.
Absolutely.
So we heard that Officer Schurr is asking for help and trying to issue lawful commands to Mr. Lyoya. Is Mr. Lyoya talking at all during the video?
He said okay a couple of times when Officer Schurr would say stop or get his hands behind his back. You would hear him say okay.
Does it appear from your analysis that Mr. Lyoya asked for assistance from the passenger who's taking the passenger video?
There were 3 things that Mr.
Defense
Lyoya
witness
said to the passenger, and twice he said, "Amy, get the keys," and one time he just said, "Get the keys."
Okay, should you go forward to that?
Sure.
And when you get there, stop before, and then walk through, stop at each time that Mr. Lyoya said get the keys.
So right there, Lyoya said, "Amy, get the keys." So with the synchronized video and synchronized audio, it's more clear on the cell phone video, on the audio portion of the cell phone video when it's played by itself. The reason it's muffled in the synchronized video is because the body-worn camera and the material and the action that's going on, you can see in the body-worn camera, Officer Schurr's hands and Lyoya's arms behind his back as he's pulling on him. The camera, the material is rubbing across the microphone, which is creating a distortion, which is drowning out the cell phone video. So in order to hear it more crisp, you would have to play the cell phone video by itself.
Can you analyze each of the videos separately and altogether?
I did.
What's the frame number you're talking about right there?
This is frame number 4988. And again, I heard the words, "Amy, get the keys," and I hit pause. So this is after those words were spoken. And I'll grab that for your PowerPoint. Frame number 4988.
And go forward to the next instance.
Stop!
Okay.
Stop resisting!
Muffled right there. But he said, "Get the keys."
And if you could grab that one,
This is frame number 5234.
can I go on to the next one?
And there's the third and final as he looks over his left shoulder.
Can you blow that up?
Sure. This is frame number 5459. Slide number 14 in the PowerPoint.
Okay, at some point, Officer Schurr pulled his taser out in an effort to apprehend Mr. Lyoya.
Correct.
Can you move forward on the video, and then just prior to when he pulled out his taser, please stop.
Okay. Play or just advance?
Play.
I'm gonna go back.
So here we don't have a great shot. The moment that Officer Schurr pulled out the taser.
Correct. If we look at frame number 5586, and you look at the body-worn camera on the bottom, you can see Officer Schurr's right arm starting to come up. And if we go forward, we see Officer Schurr's right hand. And right here in frame number 5588, we can see the black handle of the taser in Officer Schurr's right hand. We know it's the taser because as you advance forward and watch the video as many times as I have, you know it's the taser.
You know what it is.
I do.
Please go forward to the point where Mr. Lyoya reaches out.
Okay, well, he's reaching, looks like he's reaching right here at 5589. But what happens is, as we go forward, a frame at a time, Schurr is able to pull the taser back and away, and we see 5597 continuing to advance until we hit 5599. Mr. Lyoya's left hand is covering the body-worn camera of Officer Schurr.
Can you grab 5597?
Sure.
Maybe let's go back a couple more. Go forward to, that's fine, you can grab that one.
Okay. This is frame number 5590. In the PowerPoint, it is slide 15.
At some point, Mr. Lyoya deflects the taser.
Yes,
Can you please go forward to that point?
yes.
And describe what's happening.
Okay, just play it. I'll go back.
Unless you're close.
So I'm just going a little quicker than a frame. Single frame advance mode. So here we are in frame 5616. This is where we see Officer Schurr holding the taser in his right hand, facing Mr. Lyoya. And as I advance it, we see Mr. Lyoya's left hand up and open. At 5635, the taser and the hand get closer. And here we are at 5648. At the bottom of the image in the body-worn camera, we see Mr. Lyoya has his left hand on the taser. That's being held by Officer Schurr's right hand.
Is that before or after? the
Not till
taser
we're
goes
done.
off?
I haven't seen this yet.
Just before.
Keep going forward.
So here we are at 5651. And I'm going to magnify this. So I'll go back one frame. 5650, the box that I put on there and magnified the waistband of Mr. Lyoya, and I'll capture that for you. You don't see anything, no smoke or gases as I go one frame forward. Then you see the gas, the nitrogen blast from the cap that sends the darts, and that is frame number 5651, which is the frame that the very first taser application or taser deployment occurred.
If you could go forward to the point where you can see Mr. Lyoya's hand on the taser.
Okay. So you can see in this one here, this is just for, so everybody knows what's happening, that Officer Schurr's toes and Mr. Lyoya's toes are facing each other. They're directly facing each other. And Officer Schurr has the taser in his right hand, and it's across his body to his left side. And under where it says Schurr BWC, you can see Patrick holding the taser. And as I advance it, You see the grip on the taser by Mr. Lyoya in 5672 and continues. I'll grab another one, 5675.
You toggle back and forth so you can see the movement of the taser across the image.
Yes. So I'll go back a few frames and forward, back, forward. And you see this forward action. That's Officer Schurr's pulling the taser back here at 5679.
On this image, which is RFN 5679, it appears that, let me just ask you, what hand, the left or the right, is the taser in for?
Thank you so much, Kat.
Officer Schurr's right hand,
And how about for Patrick Lee?
his left hand.
At some point, the taser transfers from Mr. Lyoya's left hand to his right hand.
Correct.
Can you play the video until that point?
Let's go, taser.
So at 6252, and it's not the best shot in the world, but this is because of the bystander missing some of the action. Frame number 6252, we could see the right hand now of Mr. Lyoya on the taser, and we can see Officer Schurr's right hand. So now both individuals each have a right hand on the taser.
Okay. Play it forward, please.
No, like he's good, and you can talk to him.
You can stop there, please. So I think you just mentioned that the passenger video wasn't the best display of cinema experience.
That's correct. I believe at this point, when you listen to the cell phone video by itself, you can hear the individual in the two-story house talking to Mr. Lyoya, and you can see Mr. Lyoya's head is turned in his direction. I'll just magnify that. This individual in the white t-shirt, and you see Amy is looking in his direction. And that is frame number 6600.
And then the passenger video, does it appear that the passenger moves forward towards the
Yes,
altercation? Can you see it in the dash cam and also in the passenger video?
yes. Let me back up just a little bit. To frame number 6382. And you see in the right hand of the passenger is his phone. We know it's there. We can see he's got a hoodie on. Part of his head is covered by the hoodie. And what I'll do is single frame advance from frame number 6382. So it's right at about 6424 is where we see the passenger step up to the curb to get onto the grass to walk over. As I continue, Passenger steps onto the grass, kind of on the curb. His left foot frame number 6467. He's about to put his right foot down.
Yeah. Very good, bro. Like, can you talk to him like good?
So at 6786,
You have that one.
we have the passenger now near the sidewalk.
Did you grab that one as well?
Yes.
And if you could play at regular speed now until you get closer to the point where the shot occurs. And I'll tell you to stop that way, it's at 74:48.
Okay.
Good, like, can you hear? It's not very like, no. No, he's good at first. Yo, you hear him too. No, he ain't problem.
Okay, can you go up the officer Schurr and Patrick Taylor, please?
Yes.
And can you describe where Officer Schurr's feet are?
So here we are. It's frame number 7448. And you can see Officer Schurr's right and left feet are both off the ground completely in the air.
And where are Officer Schurr's other legs, his arms?
So we know his left hand, and I'm going to change the color of the arrow to yellow. The red arrows indicate, oops. The red arrows indicate Officer Schurr's feet, although it's obvious. The hands are going to be with a yellow arrow. And this is where the left and right hands appear to be for Officer Schurr, along with the taser and the right hand of Mr. Lyoya, frame number 7448.
Are you able to see the taser?
It's tough. It's covered by their hands.
Do you know which hand Patrick Lyoya is using to hold the taser?
His right hand. We can see his left hand is open and flat on the grass.
You go to 7476. What's the picture in this instance?
So 7476. We have the right hand of Officer Schurr reaching for his service weapon. Both his feet are off the ground. He's on the back of Mr. Lyoya, who has now at this point brought his knees in and bent his elbow and is up off the ground. And the taser, indicated with a yellow arrow, is right there in Mr. Lyoya's right hand and Officer Schurr's left hand. And that's frame number 7476.
Did Officer Schurr, was his hand on the taser?
Yes,
Can you go forward to that?
yes.
You know, when you listen to
He's
this,
going to-
I know he's going frame by frame, but it sounds like those boom whacker kids play with, where it's like dong, 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 dong.
magnify 7510.
Stop watching.
So here we have Officer Schurr, hand on his service weapon on the right side hip. His left leg is blocking where the taser is, where his knee is on the ground. And as we advance, you see the left arm, I'll go back, of Officer Schurr come up off the ground as his elbow bends and his forearm comes up and away. And this is 7518, where we can see Officer Schurr's left arm is bent at the elbow up away from where the taser was.
At some point, the officer, the commander, again, dropped the taser.
Yes.
Can you go forward to that so we can hear the audio? Grab that.
7569, and again, I hit pause after I heard the words, so it's not precisely when the words were spoken.
And now there are certain frames where you can inclusively see that Mr. Lyoya's got his hands on the taser and Officer Schurr does not.
Yes,
Focus on those.
sure. So now we know in 7581, Officer Schurr has his service weapon in his right hand. We can see his left hand is up on the left shoulder. We see Officer Schurr's right leg up off the ground. We see the toes of his right foot on the ground. And we know from this point, based on the last part of the video we saw, Mr. Lyoya is coming up off the ground. And we can see, indicated by a yellow arrow, the right hand of Mr. Lyoya right there. And in this image, it isn't clear that he's holding the taser, but we know he is as we advance the video forward. Frame number 7581.
Should we advance it forward?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to play the rest of the video, and I want to, his family members in the audience. It's going to include the shot. So, should you go ahead and play it forward? At some point, you were able to identify a huge exhalation of air by the officer.
Yes,
Can you go to that image, please?
yes. So let me magnify this part. So this is frame number 7647. I'll back up to 7639, and I'll capture that for you. As I go forward a frame at a time, you can see Officer Schurr exhale. Oops. Seven six four seven is a good frame number. That is slide number 40 in the PowerPoint.
Okay, and then we have also heard Officer Schurr yell at someone to get back. You know what he's yelling to, at least from your analysis.
He's pointing directly at the camera. My opinion is that he's talking to Mr. Lyoya, because Mr. Lyoya does back up. Oh, I'm sorry, Amy. I think that's his first name. Yes, the passenger.
Passenger. Okay, and could you screenshot when he tells him to get back?
Yes. Maybe it's just for focus. So here we are at frame number 7785. You can see Officer Schurr pointing, his mouth is open, and we just heard the words, "Get back," and that's, again, frame number 7785.
Grab that one for me.
Yes.
Finishing up here. Getting sticky notes, so if you could grab a few more images.
Sure.
If you go to 5671. Grab that, 5672. $56.75. $56.79. And then $62.52. At some point, were you able to see the shell casings come out of Officer Schurr's firearm?
Yes.
Could you do a screen grab of that?
Yes.
If you circle them,
Yeah.
they're in the air.
It's right there. Tip of the arrow. So I'm going to back up, and you'll see that casing disappear. There it is. And that is frame number 7619.
Nothing further.
Just want to make sure that you're preparing your PowerPoint as it is right now. The exhibit. So we'll get a copy of this?
Yes, and we'll move it into evidence. If you want to make something else, you can.
No, that's fine. I think it's fine, so I have no question.
Maybe we can go far, but we move for admission of exhibit A1 through, what's the total number of?
There are 47 slides, so in the slide, the presentation, one title slide and 46 images.
Any objection to the admission?
No objection, Your Honor.
That would be everything. All right. Thank you, sir.
It'll take me a minute, Your Honor.
Oh, yeah, take your time. And then, Mr. Baldwin, you ready?
Possible to take a brief recess.
Sure. I
Definitely.
think that makes sense. I do. All right, let's take a quick recess and we'll reconvene about
All right, guys. So this, I get we're going down and breaking down frame by frame, but I think at times this was a bit much. But I understand the defense is allowed to present their evidence, and they can present it the way they want. They were able to freeze frame and show there clearly was fighting for weapons. There was some combative conduct. So I want to answer a couple of the questions that were in here that were asked already. J-Bet said, did Schurr even have a nightstick? No. A lot of departments don't have them anymore because it's considered cruel to go run around and crack people on the head with them because you can fracture their skull and really injure them. Nobody's up at mine says, I assume these usually always get bound over. For the most part, preliminary hearings are very perfunctory. This one's very different. This one is being drug out, and it's a knockdown, drag-out fight. Do we think he'll get bound over? I think, sadly, he will. But I think the state knows they're on thin ice already. They definitely can't get a conviction. So... Sorry, guys. It's been a long day. I apologize for that. No, but this is not. This is just going to go on. Now they have left is the... This is the Michigan State Police investigator, and I apologize for that. Just got done with Nick at 7 o'clock this morning. That was rough.
Yes, sir, I did.
Sure. Jacqueline Stasiak, JACQUELYN STASIAK.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Where do you work
Michigan State Police,
and how long have you been?
almost 29 and a half years.
And you are, you've been an investigator on state and federal cases?
Yes, I have.
You've investigated cases all over the state of Michigan.
That is correct.
And with regard to this case, you're one of the lead investigators?
I'm one of the investigators.
One of the, is there a lead?
There is
Okay, then who is that?
Detective Sergeant Aaron Tubergen.
He's not here, right?
That is correct.
He's not a lead.
Correct.
But at a minimum, you participated in the investigation of Officer Schurr.
I did.
Is it fair to say you're one of many investigators?
Yes.
And you, during the process of the investigation, you were able to view some of the evidence that was collected from the scene on the video we've seen many times.
That is correct.
We've seen a car that Mr. Lyoya was driving in. Did you have the opportunity to look at the car at any point in the investigation?
Yes, I did.
Please tell us about that.
On April 19th, Detective Sergeant Tubergen and I did a search warrant, executed a search warrant on that vehicle at the state police headquarters.
Can you describe the condition of the interior of the car?
There was a bunch of trash inside the car. There were a bag with Budweiser beer cans in it. There were a bunch of identifications, paperwork mixed on the floorboards that open cans or some sort of moisture had colored the paperwork. There were multiple identifications in the vehicle.
What do you mean by multiple identifications?
Identifications for multiple different individuals.
Different individuals other than Mr. Lyoya?
That is correct.
What types of identifications?
Bridge card,
What's a bridge card?
a card that you can get your social services put onto that card so you can buy food or necessities with it. Identification cards, photocopies of identification cards.
Now, what's going to happen, guys, is right now, this stuff was in the car, yes. They were not doing things that were legal. But Officer Schurr didn't know that at the time. So, yes, all this is really good to know. Look, this was a bad guy. But he didn't know any of that. All he knew is the car didn't have plates, this guy didn't have a license, and he probably smelled like alcohol. So, I understand they're bringing this up now. It's the preliminary hearing, so the rules are a little faster and looser. But at trial, I believe none of this would be coming in. I believe this would all be precluded. Brent, what's a bridge card? A bridge card's going to look like a credit card. It's like a normal EBT card. It's going to, yeah. But yes, it looks like a credit card. See if I can find a picture of one. So, yeah. Here. Here's what a bridge card looks like. Here's a bridge card. Actually, we gotta go back. So here's what bridge cards look like, guys. I mean, it's funny because they call it's got the Mackinac Bridge, which is the biggest bridge. It connects the Upper Peninsula and Lower Peninsula. But yes, it's the Michigan EBT card. So that's what he had in the car with him. They were probably running some sort of EBT hustle, which can be very lucrative at times.
When you say, hold that microphone a little bit closer.
Sure. Absolutely.
Can you tell us what you mean by photocopies of identification card?
Sure, like a piece of paper that has a photo.
Okay, real quick. They objected, and that was to bring up the relevancy. Dirt in my eye, he had multiple warrants also. He had a couple failures to appear, so he had multiple reasons to run. Also, being at a .29, he knew he'd probably get arrested for DUI. He got caught driving without a license. He didn't have a license. He was already had a warrant for no license. A lot of people were looking for him, so it wasn't just that. But the state just objected on relevance grounds, and that's exactly what I would have done if I were them. What is the relevance to this? Does this what they found in the car? And I think I brought this up before, but just like with the Darrell Brooks case, you have to show this evidence, this information you're bringing in. Doesn't make it any more likely if you're the prosecutor trying to show it's more likely Schurr committed a crime and did, mean that probable cause burden. Or if you're the defense, is it trying to show that it's less likely that probable cause was met? How does this bring it up? Because he doesn't know about this stuff. This is all knowledge after the fact. And it's stuff Schurr didn't himself know because he didn't go search the car. Someone else did. Yeah, Jim, I think the only other way it comes in is if the state tries to show he was a nice boy who didn't do anything wrong, because at that point, then it does come in. It's still going to be kept out for the most part. Yes, Luke, actually, this is valid. It's going to be, what are the grounds for this objection? And the guy said relevancy. '93RT says, so when you have a warrant, can't the cops just go to your house and get you? They can arrest you if they see you, but if you're in your house, they need a separate warrant to go in your home. Your home is a very sacrosanct area. They need a warrant to get into your house, absent some sort of exigent circumstance. But yes, there are times in some counties and some jurisdictions where they do warrant enforcement sweeps, where the police get loaded up on all their warrants and they go hunt people down. They try to catch them while they're out and about, because once you're out and about and you're outside your home, you get snatched up. If you're in your home, they have to go looking and they have to try to get a warrant to get you. Or there's times where they'll try to, see if you're there and spook you and try to run you out.
Relevant to show that Lyoya had a fake ID in his vehicle, and that there were multiple fake IDs that the defense maintains, and I think will show that he was committing identity theft, essentially living as another person. And in this case, because the clean phone rule is at least relevant to the determination of what this case gets found over, certainly the motive of why Mr. Williams was fleeing comes into play, especially when you have one witness who suggested that he happened to be fleeing. And so because we have to establish that he's fleeing, I think that we are entitled to ask questions about the motive.
Becker, did you? Yeah, I guess then it goes to speculation, Your Honor. I think it's a twofold then, because at that point in time, defense on one of the questions for Mr. Butler said, you don't know what was in Mr. Lyoya's mind, and shut him down. We started to opine on why he was running. Now the defense is attempting to do the exact same thing. We don't know what was going through his mind. We're conceding that he committed an RNO. We're conceding he was drunk driving, and drunk driving third. So I don't know why bringing in any fake IDs. He was committing at least 2 felonies by our count at this point in time, and I don't know how bringing up IDs or something adds to that.
It has, I guess, for lack of a better word, tangential potential relevance at the very best. It seems like at this point. Nonetheless, this is a preliminary examination. I'll let you explore that, recognizing the nature of the proceedings, but I'll overrule the objection, but certainly the court appreciates the objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I'll move it along. So I previously provided to you some photographs.
Yeah, porcelain, yes, people used to sell them. People still sell their cards, man. Because all you got to do is give that person the pin. He sold that card 50 cents on the dollar, bro. That ain't old. That's still done. I've had a lot of people get in trouble for that. I've defended them for that before. Seeing a lot of people sit in court over that. But that's a good hustle. 50 cents on the dollar for the total balance on your card. So it's not just the old food stamps, the card now too. That is not going away.
You have one in front of you?
I do.
And can you describe, and there's 2 photographs there.
That is correct.
2 of them relate to items that were found in Mr. Lyoya's car.
That is correct.
And we're going to mark those for identification as defense exhibit B and B1. Do you recognize defense exhibit B and B1 as the items that you found as evidentiary value and were taken out of Mr. Lyoya's car?
I do.
You move to admission?
That is B and B1, is that?
B and B1.
Mark? It will be admitted as.
And Your Honor, should we see? Your Honor, I stand corrected. It's C and C1.
C and C.
And I'd like to put it on the screen, Your Honor, but these are one of the Zoom bills. No.
I think it's in next. Is it in just Joe? Execute.
Your Honor, I'm not on Zoom. Can we just?
You want to plug it into? Oh,
we don't have you. We could just.
We want to do it the old fashioned. All right.
Your Honor. I'm showing you copies. C and C1. Can you describe what's depicted in defense exhibit C and C1?
Do you have one as, you want me to reference one as one and one as the other, or just generally on it?
Yes, one, and I don't have them
Yeah.
identified up there, so you pick which one is C and C1.
So I'll call the first one C. There's an actual Michigan driver's license for a female subject, Robin Melton. A bridge card in the name of Lizette DeVula. There's some identifiers being phone numbers, a Gmail account, what appears to me to be a social security number based on the dashes that are put into that number, and a couple, looks
We'll
like a
get to
business
that.
card and maybe a pass card to get into a business.
These were found where?
They were found in the vehicle, multiple locations, and I would have to reference all of the photographs from the vehicle. Again,
During the course of your investigation, were you able to confirm whether or not any of those were stolen?
yes,
You also were able to examine the contents of Mr. Lyoya's wallet,
that is correct.
and that's the third picture in front of you.
Yes,
In the same process here, you were able to take it out and you took a picture of what was in his wallet.
I didn't take this photograph, but Detective Sergeant Tubergen sees that wallet and took this photograph.
Is that a fair and accurate depiction of what was in his wallet?
That is correct.
I move admission of Detective Exhibit B.
D, do you do not? Any objection?
No objection at all. I can do it. Can you please tell us what is depicted in Detective Exhibit B?
So that would be the contents of the wallet, a bridge card in the name of Patrick Lyoya, a Michigan identification card in the name of Jancy Belkema, credit cards in the name of Jancy Belkema, credit cards in the name of David Rokabuka. I'm slaughtering all of these. I apologize to the court. Multiple.
So the guy who got
like
shot got slaughtered
identification
too.
Cards, business cards, phone numbers, the actual wallet, and some cash are in this image.
Hey, at least you're here.
In either the car or the wallet, were you able to find any images of Mr. Lyoya related to where he works?
There was an image of Mr. Lyoya, however, it was on an identification card that contained a different name for Jansi Balkema.
Is that name Jansi Balkema the same one you just mentioned related to the Michigan ID?
That is correct.
During the course of the investigation, did you talk to Mr. Balkema?
I did.
Where is he?
Out of state. I don't recall what state he was in. I spoke with him over the phone.
Was he aware that someone else was using the identity?
He was not.
As you investigated Officer Schurr, did you happen to run the lien of Patrick Lyoya?
I ran a canceled warrant. So yes, I did.
Let's define a few things. What is a lien?
Lien is the law enforcement information network that gives us back Secretary of State information as well as NCIC hits with any warrants across the nation.
So you're able to tell whether or not someone has an arrest warrant out from anybody if a law enforcement officer looks at the lien.
That is correct.
And now you mentioned a canceled warrant.
Sure.
What is that? What are you referring to there?
So when a warrant is put into the system, when a person is arrested or apprehended, the warrant is taken out of the system. In this case, because Mr. Lyoya is deceased, that warrant would be taken out of the system. I ran a canceled warrant hit to show the warrants that were entered in the system and when they were taken out of the system.
As of April 4th of this year, did Mr. Lyoya have any outstanding warrants?
He had two.
Okay, do you know what they were for?
May I reference? Sure. The one was a criminal bench warrant for failing to appear in St. John's District Court for driving under the influence of alcohol. That was entered into lien on March 18th of 2021, and it was canceled after this event on the 19th of April. And the second one was a misdemeanor warrant for simple assault, a notation in the remarks for domestic violence. It was entered into the system on April 1st and canceled after this incident.
Thank you, Detective.
Sure.
No questions.
Thank you very much.
So that is our last witness for today. If the court is amenable to our plan.
Okay, I think so. We'll plan to convene tomorrow morning, either for one last witness, if not, then a motion and argument. That sound good, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Sufficient here, yeah.
All right, very good. All right, thank you again, everybody who's here, and we really appreciate everybody's cooperation.
Okay. So that was part one of the hearing. They ended that on Thursday. Second part of this and the final part of the hearing happened Friday morning. And here is where that starts off. And we're going to get into that now. Also, you guys, holy cow, are either simping for this woman or want to like throw her off a cliff. Jeez. You guys are ridiculous. Golf and Guns, you're saying the testimony proves the deceased possible motivation to flee and fight to the death of BB to avoid arrest. Yeah, but I think the warrants alone show that. Showing this EBT thing, that's like a minor, in some states might be a misdemeanor, but even in Ohio, that's like a low-end felony offense subject to probation if you get charged with it. Unless you've done like a massive, massive fraud ring, which this isn't really that big. I've seen guys pull this crap before. So, yeah. Hey, Div. Well, I'm sure you guys are going to clip all that out earlier, so my Fetterman impression. But we're still going. We got one more part. Oh. While we're here. Oh, Jeff. Hey, how you doing, man? Yes, got the grounds going. If you want to join me, you can. But we're mainly just watching this. There's not a whole lot to talk about. Yeah, but thank you for being here. I know it's like noon over in Korea land. So here we go.
Raise your right hand. Swear the testimony
This
you're
is the second day of the hearings. This was Friday morning.
Be seated. If you would state and spell your full name for the record.
Certainly, Chad McCursey, first name CHAD, last name McCursey.
Robert, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it.
McCursie.
Thank you very much. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, how are you employed?
I am a police officer in the city of Grand Rapids.
And can you please tell me what is your rank?
I currently hold the rank of captain.
And sir, how long have you been a police officer with the city of Grand Rapids?
Almost 23 years now.
Can you give us a generic snapshot as far as the different positions that you have?
Yes, started obviously as a patrol officer.
Let's see if you guys can
everyone
hear
does
this
at the
better.
police department. Did a few years there, went into our special response team or SWAT team. Did about 6 years in there. Left there to become a community police officer. Did that for about a year, then I got promoted to sergeant. Went back to nights as a sergeant for a few months, and then back into the SRT as a sergeant and team leader in there.
Well, didn't mean to scare you.
About 2.5 years after that, I went into our detective unit, supervised our general case team and our family services team. From that time, I got promoted to lieutenant, and sat as a lieutenant of what we call their watch commander, where you run the patrol shifts, either on day shift or night shift. After that, I moved into the internal affairs and was a commander of our internal affairs unit. Did that for roughly 15, 16 months before an opening came open in the training unit. And then I was a commander of the training unit as a lieutenant for roughly 2.5 years. And then back in January, I was promoted to acting captain and then full captain in July of this year.
Thank you. And any other, that's a lot of work, but any other additional duties?
Yes, I hold additional duties as a firearms instructor since 2002, defensive tactics instructor since 2005 or 6. I was made a taser instructor. I was a first aid instructor. I currently continue with my roles as a firearms instructor, hold certifications as a firearms instructor, defensive tactics instructor, and I'm currently our master taser instructor for the department.
And sir, how many master and taser instructors are there in Grand Rapids Police Department?
I'm the only master taser instructor currently.
Now, sir, we've had witnesses testify yesterday. We're going to have another witness testify as well after yourself. So we're probably going to just cut to certain topics without going into, for preliminary examination purposes, just survey some topics related to you as the master taser instructor, as well as basic training and policy components, if that's fair. Now, sir, you're familiar with this case, obviously.
I am.
And have you had the opportunity to review the videos involved here? Officer Schurr's body camera video from this incident on April 4th. You've had the opportunity to view that?
Yes, I have.
Several times?
Yes.
And how about the video of the cell cam video of the passenger involved here?
Yes.
On April 4th? And we watched the video extensively yesterday, so I may not, for everyone, I may not play it much, but do you feel comfortable just talking about it generally?
Yeah, I think I have a good working knowledge of it.
And obviously, don't hesitate if there's anything you'd like to review to start the video. Now, fair to say the master and taser instructor, we don't have to get into everything, but you have a significant amount of training to be the master taser instructor.
Yeah, I was certified by the previous master taser instructors at the department as just a taser instructor for the department. And then you have to attend a 1-week course held by Axon to become a master taser instructor. Basically what that means is I can train other individuals to be instructors as a taser instructor for the department. So I'm the only one that would do that at the department.
And you may have mentioned this, but is the manufacturer, Axon, the manufacturer of the taser device, are they actively involved in training you?
Yes, that's the 1 week course. They give you all the materials and documents that you need to train your instructors with and follow their guidelines. They don't make our policies and procedures how we use the device, but they train us how to train our instructors.
See, it can happen to anybody.
And your instructors in turn train your officers or personnel
Correct.
on how to use the taser?
That is correct.
And are all officers who carry a taser required to have taser training?
Yes, you have to be certified to hit the road with this device on your belt. Everyone is certified. They go through their initial certification and then annual recertifications to continue using the device.
When you train, I could say GRPD, obviously Grand Rapids Police Department, when you train GRPD personnel, do you actually provide the trainees materials that are created by Axon, the manufacturer?
Yes, we use the most up-to-date version of their PowerPoint to go through the how the device works, everything from the nomenclature of what they call it to safety and precautionary measures with it as well.
So those materials are obviously reviewed and discussed in detail with the trainees during the course of the training.
Yes, they are.
And are the trainees taught that the taser is a serious weapon and should be treated as such?
He's leading the witness. This is his witness. It's not cross-examined.
Why don't you rephrase that?
Oh, it's all good. We're allowed to joke here.
And then started listing that off. Well, I mean, you're suggesting the answer, it's a easy question. I'll give you some leeway. Do you train the trainees that a taser is a serious weapon and should be treated as such at all times?
Yes.
All times.
Yes.
A taser is a deadly weapon, dangerous weapon.
Personnel, do you warn them that the taser can temporarily incapacitate a target?
Yes.
And do you teach them that the taser 7 can cause death or serious injury?
Yes.
Are you required to train them, personnel, trainees, that administering the taser on sensitive areas of the body could in itself cause death or serious injury?
Yes.
Do those sensitive areas that you
I don't know if we've mentioned this before. I think we have. Anytime these taser wrestling matches occur, guys, a taser is a less lethal weapon. It can still kill you and it can still cause serious bodily injury. So it is a lethal weapon, technically. It can incapacitate, but it can also seriously injure and kill people. So it is a dangerous weapon. And as you can see, the defense attorney is pointing out that the head taser trainer says, yes, it is a dangerous weapon. We point out it's a dangerous weapon. We explain to them what can happen to them. They get tased as part of their training. So once again, it's showing that Schurr had some fear that he was facing imminent death or serious physical injury at the hands of this guy who had his taser. Imagine a taser to the eyeball. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. That would not be fun. I thought Sean was drinking from a straw or something. I think that was me making sure I didn't drool everywhere. Boomer saying it seems that tasers are prone to failure. They can be. That's the thing. They are not guaranteed. But when they work, they're great. But their failure rate is like 35, 40 some percent of the time, which is a ton. But society would rather have the cops use those than sit there and beat somebody with nightsticks or get the shotgun with beanbags in it and start pelting someone with them. So this is one of those issues where society has wanted this to happen, and now it's created a whole new set of problems that society is not willing to address. They didn't like how the sausage was being made, so they asked for an alternative, and the alternative isn't really doing anything good. It can be. It's a less than lethal weapon because it's not. I get what you're saying that it can't be lethal if you get tased. Yes, if it is a less than lethal weapon. To call it a non-lethal weapon is not correct because it can cause serious injury and it can cause death. So, I mean, people do die when they get tased. It is a weapon that can be dangerous. Just like if I had a shotgun full of beanbag rounds, it's less than lethal. It's not non-lethal. And yes, cops have had to get sprayed with pepper. Oh, somebody's here. Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
What's
Why are you all the way over there?
I don't know.
Oh, I think it's the way I had it set up. No, sorry.
I'm doing good.
Hey, so yeah, was it like
Hang on,
noon
I guess
over
I
there
better
for
turn
you?
your video off here now so I don't get super echo double. There we go. Hi.
Yeah, you can't call into the radio with your radio or your radio
Yeah.
on.
Please turn your radio down. Long time listener,
No.
first time caller.
Yes.
Hi, Sean.
So I get what you're saying, but in their defense, for example, if I had a shotgun full of beanbag rounds, if I hit you with them, it's going to cause you serious injury. It can still kill you, but it's not meant to.
You know what
taser-
increases the effectiveness of tasers?
Yes.
Having a gas can strapped to your back.
I
You've seen that
heard-
video.
I've not seen the video. We can probably watch that at the end. I've heard about it though.
Yeah. Not the greatest thing, but no, what you're saying is
Well-
absolutely correct. I mean, you have to get the contacts right.
Yeah.
You know, clothing can be a hindrance to that movement. You know,
Yes.
It's
All
kind of a
kinds of
crapshoot with a
problems.
taser.
Yes. And it's like I said, and I agree they suck, but this is people in society have said, we don't want to see our policemen beating people or doing these things. So they thought a taser sounded better, and the taser sucks.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have very
then-
limited choices. Do you shoot them and blow them away?
Well, no, I think
for minor things.
I
Do you hit
think
them with a
there's-
club? Do you let a dog loose on them, or do you tase them?
I think a club or a dog or using a bunch of rubber slugs out of a shotgun would be far more effective. But those don't look good, and people don't like that, and they think a taser is a cleaner way of doing it. And I don't know if you heard me. This is people not liking to seeing how sausage is being
Yeah.
made, so they want to try to make it more palatable to their eyes. And this leads to problems. Yes, bolos would work. Those would be horrible if they missed. So yeah. So have you seen this one at all, Jeff?
I haven't watched any of the trial.
Oh no. This is just a preliminary hearing. Did you?
Yeah,
know
that's what I mean. I
what
haven't
you're
watched
about?
any of it.
Okay, so the officer stopped a guy, and the license plate didn't match the car. He said, like, give me your license. The guy doesn't have it, starts trying to, like, walk around, and the cop says, no, you're done. It turns out this guy also had a 0.29 alcohol level, so I'm betting he smelled like a brewery.
I did not know he had a 0.29.
Oh, yeah.
29?
Yeah, so there's a chase.
How is he alive?
Oh, that's if you're a good alcoholic, that's not
I
a
guess.
big deal.
I couldn't even do that. Wow.
Yeah, Vice or Mindset might be able to do it.
I'm impressed. He's kind of a pussy drinker. Anyway.
You're probably not supposed to tell the world that. I'm sure he'll get mad. You're going to be the next call out now.
Uh-oh.
He's going to have a struggle session with you.
Continue.
So the guy runs.
Yeah.
And in the middle of this fight, the cop pulls out his taser, tries to taser him. This guy grabs the taser. And the first set leads don't work. The second set don't work. And he starts trying to take it and just connecting and stunning him with it. There's a big fight over the taser. The cop basically takes him from the rear and is on his back. And this guy's on the ground, has the taser, kind of yanks it out of the cop's hand. The cop is fighting. He pulls out his pistol from like down here and right into the back of the guy's head. Boom. Shoots him.
That'll end it.
Yeah, it's a pretty intense, it is a pretty intense when it went down.
Damn.
So, yeah, I think it is a very crappy situation. I don't think it's a completely justified shoot, but I mean, it's as justified as it's going to get. and it's kind of in that murky territory though. So, and right now
Wow.
he got charged with second-degree murder, and this
The
is
cop.
yes. It does not help that the guy he shot is a refugee from the Central African Republic, and it's there's no good in the story. It does turn out these guys were a part of a big welfare like EBT scam, but
Hmm.
none of that the cop knew at the time.
Yeah.
So,
Yikes.
yeah. So he's having a preliminary hearing today, or he had it on Thursday and Friday, and this is the captain in the police department in Grand Rapids, Michigan, who is the taser trainer, and the defense actually called him for the preliminary hearing, and they're going through his testimony.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. This is a little more intense than Darryl Brooks. There's
It's pretty heavy. Yeah.
there's not going to be some subject matter jurisdiction issue here.
Yeah. Damn.
So, but yeah, then we'll watch that taser guy at the end. I do want to see that. All right, here we go.
Trained to avoid include the head
Yes.
and the neck.
Yes.
Does it include, you advise them there's danger to shooting somebody in the chest
Correct.
and the genitals? Is that an area that's trained to avoid?
Can you hear my dog snoring, by the way?
Sensitive areas.
Okay, good.
It's both cartridges. And we went through the parts of the taser yesterday in depth. And the device can hold 2 cartridges.
That is correct.
Even after both cartridges are deployed, can the probes still be re-energized?
Yes, you can re-energize the probes and the wires by either pulling the trigger or hitting the arc switch on the side of the weapon system.
So that the device still has the capability to cause neuromuscular incapacitation. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Now, as far as the device, does the device have the ability, even after both cartridges are deployed, to also administer a drive stun?
Yes, it is. There are electrodes on the front of the device.
And the trainees are the trainees taught that the drive stun is still in play even after both cartridges are deployed?
Yeah, we train them as a third point of contact where we're trying to close the loop. If you only have one probe on your target or subject that we want to reach for a different area and drive stun, that would be the motion, but we call it a third point of contact to get that positive negative connection to close the loop. And the goal is to get neuromuscular incapacitation.
And do you train the trainees consistent with Axon materials that the drive stun alone to sensitive areas of the body is capable of causing serious injury or death?
Yes.
In the situation that we're here for in court today on April 4th, was the suspect who had the taser, was he in close enough proximity with Officer Schurr to use the drive stun function?
Yes.
Now, sir, I'd like to ask you, during the course of training officers on the taser weapon, does the Grand Rapids Police Department allow for voluntary exposures of training?
Yes, they are encouraged, but they are voluntary exposures.
So this is not mandatory?
It is not mandatory, no.
Now, just generally, why is voluntary exposure offered?
There's a couple reasons that we want to show people have an exposure, to go through an exposure themselves. I've gone through it. First reason is we want to know, the capabilities of the device, of what it actually does to your body, and you can feel it firsthand. Second reason is you want to be able to know that as someone is being tased and they are experiencing NMI, that they can still hear what you're trying to say, like put your hands behind your back and follow the commands at that time. And then lastly, obviously, the device, we want to show the capabilities of how it affects you, what incapacitation feels like, and if this device was used against you, you know how helpless you would be during that 5 seconds.
And was Officer Schurr voluntarily tased during training?
Yes, he was.
And that was prior to April 4th of this year.
Correct. And it wasn't by me, but he was.
Now, these voluntary trainings, they're done in more of a controlled environment. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, there's a lot of safety protocols in place to make sure our officers don't get injured during this. They're in a mat room. We have spotters holding them so they don't fall and hurt their head or neck. And it's very controlled.
Sir, changing gears a bit here, but does GRPD have training on weapon retention?
Yes.
And if you could just give me what is weapon retention, just a brief.
Weapon retention, when people talk about weapon retention, they think primarily their gun on their belt. But we have multiple weapons on our belt system that, could be considered a weapon. The taser being one, the S baton. So what we train is how to make sure someone doesn't grab it off of our belt or out of our hands, and available use of force techniques and to prevent them from getting it, to, or even actually training if you were disarmed, how to get that weapon system back at times.
Sir, would it be reasonable an officer who's been tased or even watched other trainings get tased or watched videos on the effects of it, would it be reasonable for an officer to fear that the suspect would be able to access their duty belt if they were being tased?
Yes, it would be reasonable to believe that during that 5-second incapacitation that you would be helpless in defending yourself.
Now I'd like to move to some topics involving the incident here. And you mentioned you were able to view the officer's body camera video and the cell cam video of the passenger.
Correct.
Is that right? And sir, rather than asking you off memory to define certain policies, does GRPD define escalation of force as an officer's increased control response to a subject's increased level of resistance or aggressive action when the level of force being used is insufficient to stop or control the resistance or aggression?
Yeah, that's in our policy.
So with your review of this entire scenario with Officer Schurr, did he follow appropriate continuum of force measures throughout this interaction to meet the suspect's level of resistance and aggression?
Yeah, he was working through his available techniques and responses to what was happening in front of him.
And prior to the suspect running on foot, is it true, had the suspect already resisted or obstructed a police officer?
At the moment, he basically swung his arm back and spun on the officer. Then yes, he was resisting and obstructing a police officer.
And under Michigan law, is resisting and obstructing a police officer a felony?
Yes.
Now, the suspect, as we've mentioned, the suspect then runs on foot. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And in regards to Officer Schurr running on foot, let me just ask you, can you just tell us what is MCOLS?
MCOLS is the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards. They are the governing body that hold our certifications in the state of Michigan as police officers, and they also require certain training levels for each department and police officers in the state of Michigan.
And does MCOLS have a list of essential job functions a law enforcement officer is required to follow?
Yeah, there are several.
And sir, is it true that one of those functions states that it is essential that a law enforcement officer will, quote, pursue fleeing suspects on foot by both day and night in unfamiliar terrain?
Correct.
Now, what if a police officer fails to pursue a subject
can you just explain, could that be a grounds for cowardice?
It could, based on the situation. If it was unsafe to do so, no. But if it was safe to do so, then you could say that.
Because let's say if a subject flees, perhaps you let them get back into a motor vehicle. Perhaps they're heavily intoxicated. They go down the street, they hit and kill somebody. The officer could be in a lot of trouble for not pursuing that individual, letting them get back in the vehicle.
There'd be a lot of questions of why they allowed that to happen.
So Officer Schurr here pursues the suspect on foot. Does the suspect then move from what your policies would deem passive resistance to active resistance?
Yes.
And from resistance, does the suspect then move on to active aggression?
Yeah, you can see on the video where he's spinning and throwing elbows a couple times, either to break the grasp or to assault the officer. That we don't know what the actual intent was, but that can be perceived as active aggression.
And did Officer Schurr then move on to use what his training would deem reasonable measures to attempt to gain control of the suspect?
Yes, he attempted to tackle and control him on the ground. He was unable to. Got up. He again spun and threw like an elbow around to break free or attack the officer. We'll never know. And then he escalated to introducing the taser into this incident.
And prior to the taser, did it appear the suspect continued to forcefully avoid being captured? Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
And at some point, and I believe you already mentioned this, the suspect ultimately began attempting to disarm Officer Schurr of his weapon. Is that correct?
Yeah, on the video, you can see Officer Schurr present the weapon to use it, and then it was immediately grabbed by Mr. Lyoya. And then he was actively disarming him for several seconds.
And did the suspect use what you would deem as force to attempt to disarm Officer Schurr?
Yes, I mean, he was grabbing onto it and trying to either pull it away or not letting go of it, not following command.
At least the other police officers are standing up for him.
Disarm an officer, is that a felony under Michigan law?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Forcefully
he has not done anything wrong so
disarming a
far,
police officer
according to the
would
rules.
be deemed an inherently dangerous felon.
Yeah, it is a dangerous weapon that's being taken from the officer, and the officer would be fearful of why they're taking it, if they're going to get used against them.
Now, for the police officer, have you seen on the video, even prior to the taser, did Officer Schurr, was he already going through a physical struggle and may have been showing signs of exhaustion and stress?
Yes, you can see that in the video, just based on the breathing, the way the commands are coming out of his mouth. You can tell that he's expending a lot of energy and getting spent.
I didn't like that stress question.
That when it turns to a suspect.
Oh, the cop can't handle stress, so he shot the guy in the back of the head.
Yeah, but I think it's to show this guy had
That'd be
his
a highly
shit
stressful
under control.
event to go through.
The exhaustion part of the question was good.
We'll move into Officer Schurr's.
Yeah, this guy was gassed in the fight.
In just a moment here, but leading up to that, does Officer Schurr appear to have attempted to utilize other reasonable force options that were within his abilities at that time?
Yes.
Now, can you give just a brief explanation, Grand Rapids Police Department, how use of force situations should be evaluated?
We have to evaluate use of force situations. A similarly trained police officer with the same experiences, and then look at their decision of what force was used. Was it objectively reasonable at the time it was used? And you can't look back in hindsight. At that time, what was going on at that time when that decision was made?
And that's important, at that time, no hindsight.
That was
fair
good
to say?
testimony.
Yes.
As someone who's been a police officer for as many years as you have,
Yes.
Now, sir, before I get into the final areas of discussion here, I just wanted to ask you a few more questions concerning other felonies that you may have observed from watching the video. Now, and actually, let me take you through something here a moment. So I'm just going to take you through several slides here. Okay, this is a video
Fucking
that we
snitch me
watched
out, bro.
yesterday. It's been broken down into several freeze frames.
Earlier, they had a defense
If you could just go ahead
video
and
expert come
go
in.
through these slides, and then I'll ask some questions.
A lot of
What that
talks
is,
about
is
like all the
it's
frames.
Frame 7,400.
Yeah, so we had grounds and frames.
Frames.
50 frames.
Pinch and zoom, pinch and zoom.
There was a little bit of extrapolation though when they made these little zoom ins.
Hmm.
Sir, is there anything training standpoint that you see remarkable? And we can go through it all and then come back again, but anything remarkable that you're noticing?
I'm just gonna take this off so you guys can see it better.
Reaching for his fire.
He's really off balance. His feet and knees are off the ground at this time. Basically just hanging on at that point.
Now, how about the suspect in his body position? Is that also changing?
Yeah, it's constantly changing throughout that, but yeah, he has a much more stable platform.
Next reference point, 7,450.
I swear to God, I will find you if you don't take that back. This
Same
guy,
reason, no shirt.
this guy was wearing flip flops and lost them when he started running.
Thank you. Now, sir, under Michigan law, is it a felony to assault someone with a dangerous weapon?
Yes.
But that calls for a conclusion of law.
Now, under Michigan law, is it a felony for most persons to even possess a taser?
Yes.
Yeah, Michigan has some weird laws about stuff.
Now, is it a felony under Michigan law to commit larceny from a person?
Yes.
And is larceny from a person basically stealing something from the person or from the body, taking somebody's property or something else from the person of another?
That would be definition of larceny.
And the suspect here took the taser from Officer Schurr?
Correct.
Wait, so they're arguing that was larceny.
So I'd like to get into deadly force.
I mean, technically it was. You're taking something that doesn't belong to you.
I guess so.
Yeah.
When an officer deems it appropriate to use deadly force, that it's now turned into a deadly
Theft is theft.
situation.
I've just never
Are
heard
there
that anything
various
like that
means
before.
might be reasonable at that moment for the officer to administer deadly force or to use deadly force?
Yeah, deadly force is not limited to a firearm. You can escalate to deadly force in various different options of striking in the head with a baton or with your radio or hitting them with your car or choking someone out, limiting their airflow.
Basically, what's reasonable at that time to end the threat?
Well, shooting
Yeah.
someone in the head limits
And
their
once the
airflow.
decision's made to use deadly force.
Except for to the back of their head, it increases
deadly
airflow.
Force, however, is reasonable. that fair to say?
Correct. If you were
Which is a less than
Um,
desirable situation.
perceive that threat that would authorize deadly force, then yes, you can use any means necessary.
That's the thing,
You
Graham.
already
It was
mentioned
a
firearms.
theft
You-
with violence involved. So yes, it
certainly
could be
you have
robbery.
Firearm training is standard protocol within Grand Rapids Police Department.
Yes,
And do you train to shoot in different areas of the body depending on what is reasonable under the circumstances?
yes,
You sometimes train to shoot for perhaps center mass area of the body.
yeah. The majority of our training is then hit center mass, but there are many other target areas that we focus on that are available at that time.
And you also train to.
Base of skull is a good one.
to shoot for the head.
Yes,
Do you train to shoot from different positions?
yeah. We shoot from many different platforms, from laying prone on the ground, from kneeling to squatting, while moving, many different platforms.
At dogs.
And you may have already answered this, but just to make sure I get this point across. Are officers trained to avoid headshots? Is that something that they're trained?
To avoid headshots? No.
Okay. Now I'd like to go through this. Grand Rapids Policy Manual include a rather non-exhaustive list of factors to consider when assessing totality of circumstances for an officer to escalate use of force. And does that list have approximately 15 factors or so to consider?
Yeah,
But that's not all of the factors, obviously.
it's not an exhaustive list, but those are the ones documented in our policy.
But I'd just like to go through a few of those and ask you if those may have been at issue here. One factor, size and stature. Does it appear here that the size of the suspect may have been an issue in Officer Schurr's inability to gain control of the subject?
Yeah, just based on the video, I mean, it appears that Mr. Lyoya has a weight advantage over him.
Another factor, multiple subjects. Is that something to be conscious of?
Yes,
And whether the officer is outnumbered,
yes,
and that can that be a significant circumstance for the officer?
A little upset about the
on
fat
mind of the
comment.
Officer as he's assessing what the threat may be around him.
yes,
Correct,
And
Nathan.
Is it clear from the video that was present here where the officer was outnumbered by the subject and the passenger of the vehicle?
correct. There's a passenger and then another unknown individual on scene as well.
An officer Schurr, I believe you've established, was he radioing for backup on multiple occasions?
He was.
And according to the video, at least, does it appear there was no sign of backup or assistance?
There was not any other officers on scene at that time.
Now, is another factor that might be considered subject's weapon. Is that a factor to consider?
Yes,
And here, the weapon, we've discussed it already, but suspect disarmed Officer Schurr of a serious weapon, is that correct?
that is correct.
And a weapon that Officer Schurr is trained can cause death or serious injury, is that correct?
Correct.
Another factor, alcohol or drug involvement. Do we know now that alcohol was certainly a factor in this situation here?
We know that now. I wouldn't know that just from watching the video though.
Sure. How
Okay.
about
Yeah,
exhaustion? Is that another factor to consider in the totality?
I don't know if it's clear because during the initial stop, there's no talk of, dude, you smell like alcohol. But the guy that was in the car with Patrick Loyola, the guy who was shot, they mentioned they were like drinking all night. They were drinking well into the morning. I can't imagine being at, a 0.29. You don't smell like a brewery. So I
You
assume
smell like a corpse.
Yeah, I assume it would just reeked off of him too. It's just he hadn't gotten to that point yet. But I don't know what he said to investigators, what he said in his statements. We didn't learn that personally until afterwards, because you know why we don't know anything about what Officer Schurr said? Because like a good boy, he kept his fucking mouth closed and he hasn't talked to anyone. Even the cops know to shut their mouths. They don't even talk to the police.
It's smart
Lesson
for
to be
that.
learned,
too.
everyone.
All these are the circumstances.
Yeah, exhaustion, fitness level, and
Can you just explain, just generically, in the course of training, and we're gonna get into this more, perhaps with some other witnesses, but just survey the time.
Oh,
Yeah, guys,
exhaustion
I
is
was-
one of the totality of the circumstances that need to be considered, because a long, drawn-out struggle, you can only go at 100% for so long before you start depleting your energy supplies, and then your skill set starts to diminish
3
during
seconds
that
for me.
time frame. For as long as it keeps going, your abilities are diminishing and depleting at that time.
And do you have scenario-based training?
Yes, we do a lot of scenario-based training.
And do you generally try to time those routines out? Only let the training officer go at a physical struggle for a certain amount of time?
Yeah, I mean, our scenario-based training is objectively based. We're trying to meet an objective. Some of them are long, drawn-out, physical altercations on a wrestling mat where you're trying to get someone in custody, and we're not allowing them. Some of them are really quick scenarios, but
And can exhaustion be intensified by stress, fear, or adrenaline?
yes,
Are those basically just human factors?
correct.
Now, one other factor, weather or terrain, does that appear to have been an issue here with rain and slip conditions?
Yeah, it appeared to be raining. I was out on the scene. It was raining. It was, you're in a yard that is slippery and muddy. You're not on the best footing.
Just a few more here, but another factor listed in policies, reaction time. Is that correct, that that's listed in the policy?
Correct.
Can you please, do you train your trainees about action versus reaction?
Yeah, action. It's not only a standard in law enforcement, it's in pretty much anything. Action is faster than reaction. So the person that wants to make the initial action, the officer in this scenario has to perceive that action, come up with a thought process of how to react to it, and then actually physically do it. So action is always putting the officer at a disadvantage, because of reaction.
Can you discuss, or I'm not sure if you show videos on this topic, but discuss scenarios as far as a suspect with a weapon and drawing?
Yeah, there's a multitude of different videos, but I mean, a good example of it, Your Honor, is, if you even had your gun out and you're in a low ready position and you're dealing with an individual that potentially is armed with another gun, they can spin and raise that target and shoot at you faster than you can perceive that threat and react to it and get shots back at that lethal, deadly force encounter at that time. And it just drives home that action's faster than reaction.
And that is a concept that you train your trainees to be conscious of?
Yes.
Now, how about, is another factor, distance from the subject? Is that also listed in the policies?
That is correct.
And I believe we've touched on it, but here the suspect and Officer Schurr, would it be fair to say that they were within arm's length at the end of the struggle here?
Yeah, they were wrestling tied up.
And were they within range of the officer being used to cause serious injury or death?
Can you rephrase that?
Were they within range of the taser being used to cause serious injury or death?
Yes.
Last factor, sir, did the policies list imminent danger as a factor?
Yes.
And you may have just answered this with your prior two answers, but we had the suspect, as you just explained, was in arm's length distance from Officer Schurr. Is that correct?
Yes.
and the suspect had what is deemed a serious weapon that was still capable of causing serious injury or death. Is that correct?
Correct.
And Officer Schurr is trained that action beats reaction.
Yes.
Is that correct? And the suspect that he was just dealing with had just forcefully disarmed him of his weapon. Is that correct?
Yes.
So would it be fair to say that imminent danger was at issue here?
Yeah, that'd be reasonable to say.
Now, sir, based on all the factors present on the video, and I know those factors we discussed, there's several other human factors that come into play for training officers. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
For purposes of prelim, let me just ask you here, in conjunction with the factors mentioned, in conjunction with what's on the video, and in departmental policy, the suspect here had forcefully disarmed a police officer. Is that right?
Yes.
And the officer was outnumbered with no sign of assistance. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And did the officer appear exhausted from minutes of struggling with a suspect who was evading capture with active aggression and resistance?
Yes.
Did the suspect's physical strength or size, did that appear to be prevailing when he was literally lifting Officer Schurr off the ground at the end?
It appears that officer was unable to control that individual, and that may be the cause.
And the suspect had a weapon in his hand that was capable of causing serious injury or death. Is that
Yes.
right? The suspect was in close enough proximity to use that weapon. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the suspect had already fought with force to disarm the officer. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And the officer had been taught that action beats reaction. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Based on the totality of those factors, was it reasonable for Officer Schurr at that time to conclude there was a reasonable threat of serious bodily harm or death?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Captain, I guess I'll go through your use of force. We've talked a lot about it already in terms of you're familiar with the use of force policy that's on the website of the Mayor's Police Department.
I am.
In terms of 9-1.1, the goals of the use of force policy, I'll cite number 1. Use only a reasonable amount of force to conduct law enforcement activities. That's on there, correct?
Correct.
Number 2, use only a reasonable amount of force to save lives, overcome resistance, and maintain an advantage. That's on the website, correct?
That is correct.
Number 3, use deadly force. I'm going to summarize this because it's quite a long paragraph, but you can only use deadly force against a reasonable threat of death or serious bodily injury. And when the officer has probable cause to believe the subject poses a reasonable threat of death or serious bodily injury to the officer or others. That'll be a third paragraph in summary, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, that's part of it.
Going to 9.1-2, objective reasonableness. That's part of your policy. Objectively reasonable means using the manners in light of all the facts and circumstances, the totality of the circumstances, if you will. That's part of it. You got to take into consideration.
Correct.
So I bring that up because, Mr. Dodge asked you on direct exam something about, well, if somebody runs, officer's just going to chase him. And you kind of said yes. Under wouldn't it be the circumstances? So, for example, since I'll put this up there, somebody's a stolen car, driver's in the car, passenger shooting shots out the window, car comes to a stop, driver runs, passenger stays. What would the officer do in those circumstances?
At that point, like I said I believe in the initial, is that when it's safe to do so. So obviously, the more serious threat at that time is the person shooting, so you'd stay there.
So he's going to stay there. It's not like somebody runs and you're kind of a greyhound just chasing whatever runs.
No.
You're going to base it on facts and circumstances.
No, it's not like a bird dog,
Yep. So it's based on totality of circumstances. So you're going to take, and then part of that is a crime, obviously, since if somebody's shooting, that's more serious than somebody stealing a car, correct?
Correct.
going to your use of force, I'm looking at 9-1.3 use of force, and you have kind of a level of resistance. You have potential inactive resistance, passive resistance, active aggression. You're familiar with that?
Oh, yeah.
So active aggression is listed as physical actions or assault against officers or citizens with less than deadly force, i.e. advancing, challenging, punching, kicking, grabbing, wrestling. That's what that means?
Yeah, that would be active aggression.
Okay.
Sounds like he
So
did all
active
that.
aggression, that's what Mr. Patrick was doing, active aggression in this situation.
Correct.
Going to authorize, you have a specific section, authorize use of deadly force. And it does say to prevent the escape of a subject who is fleeing from an inherently violent felony crime. I want to ask you about that. What is an inherently violent felony crime?
That's where you have probable cause that if they're not arrested, that they will harm someone else.
Well, she's my lawyer. How
You also
commit a
get a
crime?
list.
Yeah.
You say, okay, here's a list of inherent.
I do love this
I
prosecutor.
couldn't find anything, so you tell me.
No, there's not a,
I love how this prosecutor's acting stupid about things because 99% of the time he's prosecuting the shit out of whatever these guys tell him happened,
Mm-hmm.
which is hilarious. He's treating this guy like he's some rum dum off the street. Which, okay, say what you want about cops. This guy has done a stellar job testifying for his former colleague.
Yeah.
not a list. It's discussed through training. A great example would be that we speak of is the Roderick Danzler incident. He's an inherently violent fleeing felon that needed to be captured.
Okay, so that was the man. who
Inherently violent
killed
flaming
the
felon? Did you just say
that?
that?
Yeah.
And was driving essentially through the streets running around. It's like, man.
Correct.
But I guess you list a number of felonies. Is resisting opposing officer an inherently violent crime?
No.
Okay. Is, I guess, simply disarming a police officer, is that an inherently violent crime?
It could be, yes.
It could be,
Yeah.
depending on the facts and circumstances.
Correct.
Yeah. So once again, there is no bright line rule of inherently violent crime. It's going to depend on what's going on in that crime at the time.
Correct. And that's what it's reasonably perceived by the officer and it's reasonable at that time.
Now, part of your training as well, in terms of a taser instructor, you talk about, what you're trained on taser. One of the things on a taser is that it may not work, right?
Correct.
They're kind of finicky, if you will. If those two probes, if a probe misses, you don't have a circuit, you're not going to get the NMI, correct?
That is correct. They're imperfect, but they work.
But they're a tool, if you will.
Correct.
So one of the things you train on is if it doesn't work, you need to be ready to transition to something else, correct?
Correct.
One of the things, and the taser is not the only tool in your belt. Your belt has, you said, an asp.
Correct.
Your belt has a pepper spray.
Correct.
And even through your
Yes, the belt has an asp, but I bet if that cell phone video showed him taking that asp, clicking it out, and then beating that guy's skull in until he dropped the taser, I'm sure he'd still be getting charged as well.
Yeah.
So I love that argument. Oh, he should just beat the guy to death. That would have gone so much better.
use of your training in desperate situations, a flashlight.
Yes.
You
Oh
got a
my
big
God,
flashlight,
that
the
would go over
flashlight
really
you
well
use to
too.
Yeah, using the mag light.
Strike somebody.
Yeah. Or your radio.
Okay, or your
Or
radio
double
too.
D batteries
So
in
there
it.
are other
Yeah.
options after the taser. It doesn't go, okay, physical taser gun. There are other options
Did I just
that
say double
officers
D
can
battery?
potentially use.
Yes.
Like you said, there's no clear lines of what you have to do following this.
You don't have a
D
list,
batteries.
okay, go
It's
pepper spray
all-
first, and then ask, and then,
Right.
okay. But it's based on the facts and circumstances once again.
Again.
Yes, senor.
I guess I gotta ask this question, and maybe, I guess listening to your testimony, basically you said he did everything right in this situation.
Is that a question?
Yeah. Sorry, it may be correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, you say he did everything as he was trained to do, he did everything correctly.
Yeah, he went through his use of force options to the best of his ability during that time.
Then why was he fired?
I did not do that, so I don't
That's
know.
not- But I guess by your training
answer.
standards, there's nothing based on what he was trained on that should have led to his termination.
I did not complete that investigation, but it's my understanding that there was no training policy or procedure violations
Which
regarding the use of force.
Wow.
That led to his termination.
All right,
Which
thank
means
you.
I don't know why he was fired.
yes,
Like, I don't know why. Not, I don't know why because I wasn't involved.
oh hold on.
It's like there was no reason
Because
for
he
it.
was charged with this offense.
As my understanding.
This guy looks like he wants to eat somebody's liver.
Not because he
Wow.
did anything wrong, because he was charged with this offense. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's my understanding.
If you know. As far as Officer Schurr doing everything right, does the officer have to do everything perfect? Is that the standard?
No, the law allows for mistakes. They allow for not being perfect. Was it reasonable at the time it was done?
Now, the tase,
Now that was a major fuck up by the prosecutor. Now it's not at a trial, but imagine that coming out. Well, you didn't do anything wrong. The only reason we got fired is because the prosecutor got involved. I mean, that would look awful on a case for the prosecutor, because now the jury's seeing, well, if his boss and the guy in charge of him says he did nothing wrong, which, yeah, okay, my baby didn't do nothing wrong. I get that joke. But if he really didn't do anything wrong and he did it as good as he could have, and then he still gets prosecuted, that's not something you want the jury to hear. I mean, because then this sounds completely fucked up, in my opinion.
Can't argue with you at
Yeah,
all on that.
I didn't know that. People had told me this got really crazy, and we're only going to finish up to where he talks, because I don't need to hear their closing arguments, because that's what I'm here for, you guys. That's why we're here. You don't need to hear their closing arguments. It's not the trial.
the taser, the prosecutor brought up the taser, and the taser might not work. So maybe moving to other modes of weapons. Does a officer have to meet intermediate threat, intermediate force with another means of intermediate force, such as a baton, or can they escalate that to something higher?
They can escalate if they believe that it is not working, or they believe it's going to not be sufficient to control the force.
Well, if he's charged with second-degree murder,
If
he
a
was probably
suspect
fired.
has a
Yeah.
taser in their
Yes.
hand, does the officer need to wait for the subject to use that, or to see if the taser works before they advance to something else?
No.
Chasing and arresting. It's often unsafe for an officer to go chase an individual. Is that just,
What?
There are a lot of job functions that we do that are
We'll
unsafe.
get to this, Trot.
and the officer's not prohibited from chasing individuals, is that?
No, they're not.
One moment, please, Your Honor.
Holy cow, it's 12:30. Whew.
No further questions, thank you.
That was not a good examination.
Thank you,
there.
maybe.
Thank you.
Well, for the defense, it was good, I think.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. The prosecution
Yeah.
did not do a good job
Yeah.
examining right there.
Yeah, and guys, there's a big recess. Then the prosecutor makes an argument. Then the defense attorney makes an argument. The judge is making a decision on Monday, so it's a preliminary hearing. We don't know what's going to happen yet. The judge is going to make his ruling. Now,
That last little bit though, the prosecutor screwed up. I mean, that could be seriously damaging to the prosecutor's case
and the
going
deep part
forward.
is in the prosecutor, that guy's testimony is also now locked in, because that all comes out at trial if it goes to trial.
Yeah, and I think now there's a chance it may not, just because of that one statement. He
Sure.
did nothing wrong and he fired, and the other reason he was fired is because the prosecution got involved.
Yeah.
That tells the judge there's something shitty going on.
Yeah. So just go through some of these real quick, 'cause I know there's a lot. And also, yes, guys, I did, as somebody said here, where yes, I pulled a Fetterman a little while ago. I was on with Nick, and we were on till like 6, and then him and I were talking about some YouTube stuff, and it was like 7:30, and then I woke up at like 10, and I kind of just like
Yeah, I've been awake all night too because of the big event that happened in Seoul. I don't know if
Holy
you
shit!
saw
Yeah,
that.
is that so? Did they just like they just kind of stampeded each other, or what happened?
Yeah, I did a video just before this on it, just kind of
I mean, they're so little
setting it
though, so
out.
how can they crush each other?
Well, there's a lot of them. You know, it's like imagine a big bag of rice. No, I mean it's a horrific tragedy. I mean, it's the first
Yeah.
time that anybody's been able to go outside without masks on and enjoy
Oh,
Halloween.
okay. Ah,
Because last Halloween was still masked up, but there's always about 100,000 people there anyway, just getting their party on. The authorities say there was 100,000 last night. People that were there saying probably closer to 1 million in the entire area. I mean, it was just
Ooh.
packed. It was a sea of damn bodies.
oh no.
And it was just absolutely clogged, utterly impassable. And
Oh,
apparently it's on a downslope hill too on this alley. If there's 200 people in that particular alley, I've been there a billion times.
oh, so it's
It's
like it
packed.
was outside. Okay.
Yeah, it was outside. I mean,
Hmm.
the pictures are just horrific.
Oh.
And there was probably 5,000 people in this alley that, like I said, had
Oh.
200 people in the alley makes it crowded. And apparently someone at the bottom fell.
Oh, oh no.
And then the body counts at 151 dead and 82 seriously injured.
Yeah.
And just all night long getting messages from people in the
Sure.
States going, did you hear? It's like, yeah, have you heard about it in BF, Ohio? I probably heard about it next door. I'm probably aware. And all night long. I didn't get any
Yeah,
sleep.
you're pretty cool. I mean, I mean, South Korea's not super huge, but you're relatively close.
Yeah, I mean, it's like from there here to there, like 300 miles, 400 miles. It's like
Yeah.
2.5 hours by train. You can get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that kept me up all night, getting messages from people.
All right, so yeah, I was gonna go
Yeah.
through some of these super chats, and we'll probably wrap it up because I am fucking exhausted. Yeah, Robert Lawrence says, would this officer be charged with murder or manslaughter? He's currently charged with murder. Now, the district attorney may try to charge him with something else later. This preliminary hearing thing, guys, they can do this 1,000,000 times. There is no limit to it. There is no double jeopardy. So that he can get charged again. They could charge him with another crime, or I'm not sure about Michigan's grand jury process, but presumably he could go straight to the grand jury if he wanted to and try to see if they'll charge him there. So this, even if he wins here, this is probably not it. There might be, there's no statute of limitations on murder, so he's going to have this over his shoulder for the rest of his life, possibly. Michelle for $2 says, you are looking good this evening. Thank you. Mr. Squiggles is a new member. Thank you, sir. I appreciate the support. Nathan C for $5 says, the defense established he was committing at least 3 felonies, resisting arrest, assault on a law enforcement officer, and larceny. Yes, yeah, stealing the firearm, and I think you could argue robbery too, because it's a larceny with violence involved. That larceny one, I agree, Jeff. That's kind of like
I just never seen anything like that in my life.
Yeah.
But
hey,
technically,
that's where you got to be creative. That's the neat part about the law. You can get very creative at times. Nathan C again for $2 says, does he have 4 attorneys? I don't know if that's all attorneys. They might be a paralegal. They might have, I don't know the whole setup of his team, but yeah, it seems like he has a very good defense team.
And I'm pretty sure that's not Asa Akira as well.
Yes.
But I wish it was.
Yes. Truck golfer, hey man, what's up? So you're saying the cop was fired, and then if he did nothing wrong, why was he fired? Well, if he did nothing wrong and he followed his job properly, he got indicted or he got charged with a crime. So probably by their policies, he has to be fired, especially if it's a violent felony. I don't know for sure, but it sounds like this was partially political. The guy he killed was a Congolese refugee, so that doesn't help make the situation any better. There's a lot going on there. Grand Rapids has had some issues with the police already. So there's certainly a political undercurrent to this too. And I think that's probably why it happened that way. Detroit Boss 313 says he executed another human being, and that's one way you can look at it. I will say I think I think it's self-defense. I think it's justified, but I've said that before. You know, if you have a scale where this is really bad and this is really good, there's that middle area, and yeah, you don't ever want to be in the middle area, but that middle area is where you can still be good or bad. It's kind of a sketchy one, but
I think executed is a little bit of a strong word. Whoa.
yeah, but I
Yeah.
think for people seeing it when the cop comes up to somebody and puts the gun to the back of their head and does it, it does evince that.
I mean, if you
think-
say kneel down and put your hands
Yes,
behind your back
but-
and then you blast him in the back of the
Sure.
head.
But somebody did point out in chat, I think it was Jim, one of my mods, said, think about if he had taken that pistol and just shoved it in the guy's rib cage
Yeah.
and ripped off a couple of rounds. Nobody would be screaming he got executed. They're just saying he got shot.
And
So
again, that's dangerous business because know it or not, bullets ricochet
Yes.
around rib cages.
Yes, bullets go through. If it's powerful enough to kill somebody, it can go through that person into you. Yeah. Steve Yeager says they have a pro-criminal DA's office. I don't know the political makeup of Grand Rapids County, so that might be the case. I don't know. And then Free Flyer 1978 says for $20, thank you so much for the super chat. Teaching deadly force for over 20 years, center mass of what is visible. Yeah. So if that's all you've got is the guy's head, yeah, that's and the captain alluded to that. Like you shoot at what you can shoot at. Surprised they didn't use capability, opportunity, intent, then design their questioning logic around that. This feels wandering. It does, but remember, this is not in front of a jury yet. So they can do that later. This is more about getting some gritty facts and information in front of the judge. This is not, if they have to go to trial, I'm sure they'll have a different plan. But for now, that they are pursuing a different objective. It's a different audience, is what I would argue is probably why they did it the way they did it. Let's see here. Sweet Tooth is saying, if this cop was not a cop, how would this be seen? Well, if you're not a cop, why are you getting, you wouldn't be involved with the guy for the license plate or wrestling around with him in a yard somewhere. So
The taser and a gun
Yeah.
and the ass.
yeah,
and
so
then
I
pepper
mean, like
spray.
it would be very, very bad. I mean, I could say that much. It would not be good at all. And yes, reality of a second life says sleep well, and just because you fell asleep on stream doesn't mean you're tired. Thank you.
Mm,
That
been there. Been there.
yeah. Well, I was there today, so
I hate when that happens.
yeah.
It just means you're a hard worker.
Yes, yeah, that's it. All about the grind. So I did want to watch this though. I did find the video of this guy in Arkansas. Pause. Okay. Apparently, in Arkansas, they killed this guy with a taser.
He survived.
Oh, he survived. Oh,
Yeah.
I will say though, the Arkansas State Police. I don't know if you've seen this. They are kind of like cowboys. There's video of them doing the pit maneuver at like 100 miles an hour. There's some of the stuff they do. They will crash people. They will, like, there's video of one of them like hauling through a ditch and like taking off like a rocket ship after they chased a guy. I don't know if you've seen any of that, Jeff, but they are crazy. And they're like, they don't seem to have any rules. The rules are just get the guy. So this guy was on his motorcycle and he was running from the cops. And he was like all over the place. And let's see. Yeah, he's on the bike there. He's turning around looking at him.
They were saying they were doing speeds at over 100 miles an hour at one point.
Well, yeah, like he was on the highway doing it. They were like hauling ass after this guy. So we're going to catch up to where he's going through the town. And then we can see what happened here. Apparently, it's pretty good. I've not seen this yet. Yes, Arkansas is hell on earth. Okay. I mean, take it easy on them. They just got they just got
Shoes.
electricity and running water.
They just got shoes.
Yeah, they got shoes. Yes.
Just kidding. Arkansas people love you. I almost went to University of Arkansas Law School.
Oh, nice.
It was one of my 4 choices. It was like Harvard, University of Utah, Brigham Young University, and then Arkansas. And my advisor said, if your choice comes down to University of Arkansas, you may want to consider a career
It's
choice
actually a
change.
good one nowadays. It's a good one nowadays. It's up there. Did you go to BYU?
I went to University of Utah. BYU
Oh,
offered me a
Utah.
scholarship, but I just
Okay.
couldn't.
Yeah,
I just couldn't.
Oh,
I
all
was
right.
no
Well,
longer in alignment with the values of Brigham Young University at that point in my life.
okay. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
take us off screen here, guys, because you can't see too much if we're in the way. But
And the only thing you need to know is Genius Guy here apparently has a gallon of gasoline in his backpack.
which, if you're on a motorcycle, like, okay, you got to be able to gas up. So that's not the odds you would expect somebody to have gas in their backpack is not exactly high. So I don't think the cops fucked up here. Like, that's kind of like how many times could you do this and this ever happen?
Like this time.
Yes. Well, yes, this time. Yes.
That's all.
Yes. All right. So here we go.
You almost lost it there.
Yeah.
So they could have bumped him. They didn't.
Yeah. Also, they have a hibachi in Arkansas. Like, what do they do? Possum on that? If you go back, there's like it's like, ooh,
Hibachi grill.
the bamboo hibachi in Arkansas.
There you go.
Yes. Konnichiwa, y'all.
It's like we have a place in Salt Lake called like Dave's Chinese Restaurant or something.
Although, to
like
be
that.
fair, Waffle House is basically hibachi when you think about it.
Ooh.
Because there's a Waffle House right there behind it. It's like, it is a hibachi grill.
All right, let's get back with motorcycle guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's now coming up on Allen Street.
Thread that needle.
And they're clearly trying not to kill the guy because they could have bumped him off his bike several times already.
Oh, well, there's videos of them basically having no regard for life.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this guy.
Well, yes, this guy.
He's on foot.
Oh, here we go. I want to see this.
He's going to come on the screen to the left here
Okay.
by the white shed. There he's running. Taser, taser.
Holy
Boom.
shit!
Oh, they edited
Holy
it.
shit! He's running. Look at him run. Ah!
Oh, they pixelated it. Boo.
Oh, my God. Did he stop dropping? Oh, he's still running.
No.
He's still
And
running.
now he stopped dropping and rolling.
Ah!
Oh, they pixelated it. Boo.
Oh, no.
Boo.
Oh, he's yelling, help me. Oh, no.
Oh, the non-pixelated one was so much better. And by better, I mean worse.
Oh, no.
And by worse, I mean better.
Somebody says it looks like hentai.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Oh,
yeah.
no. That was horrible. Oh, no, no, no.
That's a taser that works really
Police
well.
activity has the uncensored one. Okay, well, yeah, well, we're going for that one then.
Ralph, no, not spontaneous combustion. He had a gallon of gas in his tank, in his backpack, and electrical arcs do wonders with gasoline.
Yes, very much so. Okay, police activity. I swear to God, you guys better not try to copy strike me. Where is it? Because that's, man, they show a lot of people getting clipped lately, but I don't see the
The shootout.
yeah.
2 weeks ago, probably got to scroll down a little bit.
Oh,
further.
2 weeks ago is when it happened?
I say that's where you're at, like right now. So it was right around then, 2-3 weeks ago.
Oh, it was 2-3 weeks ago? Okay.
Sure.
Can't find it. Okay. Arkansas Taser motor cycle. I'm assuming that'll work. Oh, these are all going to be covered out. Oh, Inside Edition, CBS. They'll flag me.
Oh, hang on, I got one here for you. It's,
Oh, you do? Oh, here we go.
This is from like a local news channel, apparently. Let me
Oh.
make sure. Yep. That
All
is
right,
not.
we'll hit him up.
That is not. Wait, let me drop this to you here in the private chat.
All right.
Done.
All right, here. Present, stop screen. I wish it was quicker to use this here. All right, here we go.
It's like 6 minutes of it.
Yeah, well, we don't need the 6 minutes.
Right now.
We're gonna rewind back to take us back to the start
with audio.
He's on foot. He crashed out.
Get on the ground! I'll shoot you. I'll shoot you.
Oh no!
He's on fire! He's on fire! Get extinguisher! Extinguisher!
Holy
Extinguisher! Extinguish me!
He's got his James Hetfield impersonation down pretty good.
Oh, dude, too soon.
Yes, you got that 90s reference. Help me! Help me!
He's on fire! Put your hands behind your back!
I like that. The dude is toasted, and they're like, put your hands behind your back.
Put your
The
hands
dude's got
behind your back.
3rd-degree burns, and they're like cold
Yeah,
supply.
well, no, I know. That's put your hands behind your back. He probably can't move. He's probably in a
And then
lot of
there's gonna-
pain.
They're gonna rough him up because he's not complying with
Yeah,
orders.
then they start beating him. Start rubbing dirt in the burn wounds. So yes, he had a can of gas in his backpack. Oof.
And they tased him and hit the gas can.
Yes, and there is we have a new member. Howard Gavin's a new member. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support.
But he survived. He's recovered.
Oh, okay. I thought the guy died. It's like, damn. That was something else.
Well, yeah, I didn't know he had the gas in the backpack, and so I'm just like, what the hell? I thought maybe when he dumped the bike, he got some gasoline on him or something. But then later is when I found out that he actually had a can of gas in his backpack.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Okay. So this right here is this right here is something I just wanted to mention. And after this, guys, we are going to be done because I am barely hanging on. So I don't want to leave Jeff with a Jesus take the wheel moment here. This is the Arkansas State Police doing some serious cowboy shit.
Is there a yeehaw involved?
Just about. Like this is 19 million views. That's how big this is.
Oh Jesus. Okay.
Oh yeah, they go. These boys go wild. Yes, the
Them
Duke
boys are at it again.
Yeah, them Duke boys are committing excessive force violations. So, 97 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour. Hit at 109.
Yeehaw! Oh, supercar! Holy shit!
Yeah,
That was a launch.
that's a fatal pit, a fatal police chase.
Well, I would imagine.
Yeah, but
The cop is lucky to have survived that
yeah,
one.
but these guys down in Arkansas,
Holy
I don't know
Christ.
what it is about the rules, but they apparently are told their guys like do whatever the fuck you want because this is insane. So yeah, check the
air. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. It's gonna be good. Yeah, here we go. Yes, they go very hard in the paint.
Especially if the paint is not white paint.
Yes, that too. Yes, some good old boys.
Oh, I miss Waylon.
Yes.
Okay.
Watch him. He's gonna go. He's gonna go. You're watching the chase car.
Hit maneuver incoming. Holy Christ! Jesus!
Yeah.
And the cop survived.
The cop survived. Look at that truck. That guy's gonna have a bad day.
Well, that truck disintegrated.
Yeah. Well, I like
Because it
how
hit that culvert, I guess. I guess it hit that
Yes.
culvert sideways.
I love the deputy's like, yeah, you should start the ambulance. Yes. Now, guys, yes, pit maneuvers are generally restricted to like 35 miles an hour and under because they are extremely dangerous, and you can't. You're basically causing a car crash. There's also the point of, let's say you're being chased by the cops and you slow down and try to pit him, you are going to get charged with felonious assault or maybe even attempted murder of a law enforcement officer. Why? Because the pit maneuver is deadly force. Causing a car accident. Oh, it is. It
Back
is.
that up a little bit, because this is just what I'm seeing, that they went sideways, tipped
Yeah.
him over when he pitted him, and there's like this culvert running across
Yep.
this driveway.
Yeah,
I think he
we'll
clipped
go
the
back.
side of
We'll go
that
back.
and
Yeah.
disintegrated.
Well, they're in the
he clipped
ditch.
the side of that there
They
in
hit
the
that
ditch,
ditch and they ramped.
and then
Yeah.
disintegrated. And then,
Yeah.
God dang.
Yeah. No, that's why when the police do pits, if you try to slow down and pit them, they will probably try to kill you. Because at that point, that is serious business. That's like grabbing a cop's gun.
Yeah,
But
hit that
I think
ditch
this
and
is
just-
criminally excessive force.
Wow.
But it's Arkansas, so nothing happened.
Well, now it's 19 million and 3 views.
Yes.
Oh yeah, he did hit that. Oh God.
Yeah, there's a little culvert pipe right there.
Yeah, that just disintegrated that truck.
Yep, there's the culvert pipe right there. I wish I could telestrate on this.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's that. Yeah, that guy's. Oof. That might be part of his airbag right there.
It looks like it, doesn't it? Jesus.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
There's an old Gregory Hines and Billy Crystal movie. I think it was White Knights, I think it was. They're like cops. The guy falls off the building, and it's like cause of death.
Yes.
Deceleration trauma.
Yes.
I think that's what we had here.
And, well, Dwayne is I don't know if Dwayne's a boomer. He just LARPs as a boomer. Yes, Arkansas is the state where they pitted a pregnant woman driving 50 miles an hour trying to find a place to pull over.
Damn.
Oh yeah, they've yeah, it was.
Whew. Jesus.
Yeah.
Well.
Yes. Brent said that happened so fast. Yeah, that happened at it's pretty fast.
That's the deal with pit maneuvers. Once it happens, it is out of your control.
Yes.
Then the laws of physics just take over.
Yes. Why not throw out a stop stick? Because that's not as fun. Also, those stop sticks are hard to use because when you throw them, you got to throw them out, and you have to risk basically that guy hitting you. That the guy being chased might run you down.
And like
stop sticks
4
do kinda
blown
suck.
tires at 100 miles an hour is going to do some serious damage.
And
too.
blowing tires at 100 miles an hour is an issue. Yeah.
But you do have his license plate number.
Yes.
You could just let him go and go to his house and pick him up.
Yeah. Well, at that
There is
point,
that option.
yeah. There was. Well, although I think there was some issue with like what this guy had done. Like, what was the? Okay. What did he do that they were? Yeah, there's nothing here that says he was actually doing something. Like he wasn't like a murderer on the run or had abducted somebody. Although if they abducted somebody, that person that's a Russian style hostage rescue.
Yeah.
2 body bags, mission accomplished.
Holy crap. Wow.
Yeah. So that's why when I saw the pit, I'm like, well, the Arkansas State Police do a lot.
It seems to be that way.
It sounds like it was a normal, like a basic traffic stop that he didn't want to stop for. Trot, I don't know for sure.
I could be completely wrong, but I think maybe it was a stolen bike. I don't know what it was, but
oh, the bike one maybe, but this one with
that
the truck,
guy.
yeah, I don't know. But
oof.
Yeah.
Well, bike dude got lit, literally.
Yes, he did.
He got lit up.
Yeah, that was so funny. He just keeps running around. You have arthritis, hard to type. That's fine. Toothless 420 says he did stop in the end. See, I mean, silver lining, he did stop.
Yeah.
Divinity said, "Clip that." Yeah. Oh, you can't outrun the radio in a car. But once again, where's the fun in that? If you got the car that can go real fast and you're allowed to do it, and you have qualified immunity, and your boss is going to let you act like a scumbag, why would you not do it? So,
Whew. Wow, that was a
type
trip.
with your nose like a pigeon. Tell me to do that after I've had a couple of drinks. I might do it for you. So, yeah, that is it for tonight, guys. We are all done. We will find out on Monday what happens. I don't think it should be bound over to the grand jury, but I remember probable cause is like the 30% mark. That's it doesn't take much. So we'll see. And even if that does happen, I'm not sure this will be the end of it. Hopefully it is, but I don't think that will be. And Jeff, thank you for being here tonight. I know it's only for a little while.
No problem.
Got any stuff you want to plug or anything coming up this week? Big stuff for you?
Ghost ships on Monday because
Oh,
it's
there we go.
Halloween. And Tuesday we'll probably be talking more about this thing in Seoul.
You can talk
and,
about the
some
Flying
other stuff.
Dutchman or anything special.
The Mary Celeste. and
Oh,
couple
that's a
of
good
other
one.
cases.
Yeah, Michael, I know about their dart thing. I'm done for the night. I can't keep going.
And maybe the Philadelphia experiment if there's time.
Oh, that's fun. That's a good one.
But I kind of want to give a whole episode to that.
Okay, do you think that's real? The whole Philadelphia experiment? Like, do you think they actually happened?
I think something happened.
Do you think guys were actually like stuck in the boat and stuff like crap like that?
I think that's a very, very good possibility. Dimensional travel, probably not, but something happened
Yes.
on that ship.
Yes. Robert Lawrence says even in NASCAR that's not allowed. Very true. Very true. Yeah, but no, the if you do that, let me know because I want to watch that Philadelphia experiment one because
Yeah, I'll probably do a
That's-
separate episode on that right around the end of November,
Yeah.
because it's such a cool thing. It literally has nothing to do with maritime law, but it involves a ship. So
yeah, it involves a boat. Yeah, involves a boat. It's yes, a interdimensional traveling boat. Although the way I've heard stories about it now, because you know Warhammer,
Yeah.
The way they talk about those guys when they came out, like when the boat came back, they were like all raving mad. It sounds like they went through the fucking warp.
yeah, it's something happened.
Yeah.
What it was, we might never know, but something happened.
Yes.
Screw up the
Yes.
ship, screw up the power grid in the area, and to really
Yes.
mess with some people's heads.
Garrett Pace, yes, nobody passes on the outside of turn 4. Oh, Carolyn says, what's your channel called?
Legal Vices.
Yeah, why are we not having names show up? I don't know why that's not happening right now. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
There you go. Legal Vices, guys. He's on YouTube, Legal Vices. Take a look at it, and yeah, definitely got a lot of good stuff going on there, guys. Certainly give him a like,
Oh,
and
thanks.
you like it well enough, you should subscribe as well.
Absolutely.
He's almost to like 1 million, I think. Isn't it?
Minus a few 100,000, like 900 of them, or 31,871. So
Oh, well, there you go.
130 more, and I can get up to 32,000.
Oh, and she found it. Great.
Yay! Thanks.
Do you
Oh, there
practice?
we go.
Well, Patty Leather says, "Do you practice maritime law from Asia?"
Yeah,
Yes.
my firm
Yeah,
is
they have
mainly-
boats. They have boats in Asia, Patty.
Yeah, my firm is probably 70%
Yes.
maritime law. And South Korea has one of the world's largest shipyards, and it's the Busan,
Well-
where I live, is the 4th or 5th busiest port on Earth.
Well,
So,
and
yeah.
also, aren't a lot of the freighters South Korean flagged? Like a lot of the
well, I mean,
container
we've got
traffic.
Hyundai shipyard,
Yeah,
one of the
Hyundai,
biggest
yeah.
shipyards. There's Samsung, Daewoo. There's
Well,
like
yeah,
4 or 5
but-
major
but-
world shipyards, and
But a lot of the companies that
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
do the work,
yeah,
not just building them, but actually running, because Hyundai does it. Aren't they
Yeah, they do
shipping as
everything.
well? Yeah.
they do everything. A lot of
Yeah.
the oil tankers and things like that
Mhm.
are owned by
Yeah.
Koreans.
So All right. Well, hopefully you have a pretty quiet day. It sounds like they're gonna. Hopefully they find out what happened for sure down in Seoul.
Yeah, the rumor, and it's just purely a rumor, is that someone heard there was a celebrity at some club and everybody was
Oh.
racing to see it, and then bad shit happened. But that's just
Mhm.
purely a rumor that's being spread. There's no
Yeah. Well, I
confirmation.
think Andrew said he's like, there's a reason why I went to Japan and didn't go there. So he's like, he said he stays away from there.
Oh yeah, that's where we hang out. That's where the legendary Hooker Hill is, like right across the street from where this happened. But
Okay.
there's times to go and times not to go. That's it. That's one time not to go. And whenever there's going to be a group of people is when you don't go because of this.
Okay, Jim. Yes, the Philadelphia experiment when they bombed a house with a helicopter. Nope.
Oh,
That's
that
a
was-
separate. That's a separate experiment.
Wow, that's some retro news right there.
Yes. That was the one time the police did like a bombing raid.
Good
No,
Lord.
that was that was the Philadelphia police, not the U.S. Navy. There were multiple experiments in Philadelphia.
That was like 30 years ago?
1980,
How long ago was that?
1980 something. Early
Yeah,
80s.
wow. I literally have not thought about that since I remember watching it in my house.
Yeah, the
going,
move bombing.
fuck?
Yeah. No, but Jim, that's something I'm probably going to cover. That might get put along with the Ruby Ridge stuff. I might have to do that on locals where I can say a lot of things I'm not allowed to say here.
I like when I can look at people and go, "You're old," just by the messages they send.
Basis. It's the Philadelphia experiment where they gave Tom Hanks AIDS. You guys, come on. There's multiple.
Where they tried to
That's-
make sandwiches. Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. I guess that was another experiment in Philadelphia.
That was a good one.
Oh my god. Oh crap! Did the Jake Paul fight happen yet? I
He's
hope
dead.
Anderson Silva broke his fucking jaw. Or
I
has it
want to
just
see him
started?
do one of these where he doesn't
Oh,
have
are
the,
you fucking kidding me? He beat him and damn. Okay,
What?
apparently
Don't say Paul beat Silva.
yeah, he did.
Oh, bullshit.
Bleacher Report.
These are so
yeah.
fucking fixed.
No, he's fighting people who aren't. Oh shit, I didn't do that right. He's fighting people who are not boxers, so
Yeah.
that helps. I mean, because if that had to be an MMA fight, Paul's
yeah.
toast. Also,
Well,
I
see,
don't
that's
like
why-
boxing because they wear all these skirts. Like this stuff, like here, it's a skirt. Like no, like it just. I don't know, but yeah. Oh god,
This Jake Paul stuff is so fucking stupid. So
How far did he get? 8th round.
Eighth
Oof.
round. I guess he went the distance, but
Yeah.
no, it just needs. If you're gonna fight, Roy
Yeah.
Jones Jr. or someone, fight him on his level.
Yeah.
Don't have the contractual clauses where he can't kill you.
Oh. I mean, yeah, the dude could fight and he could take some hits, but
Man.
damn, I kind of want to see him get thumped.
Oh, totally. No, I can't wait.
Oh
to
yeah,
see
he
it
got a
happen someday.
payday out of this. So very rigged, yeah. Yeah. So you're not gonna like the outcome. Thank you. A little late on that one, Mike. All right. Well, with that news, I guess I'll go to sleep and wake up to a different world. Elijah Silva.
Again, or sleep again. Apparently,
Don't be so hard on my dad. He fought a good fight. Oh. Yeah, no, it'll be nice. I can finally get some like real sleep tonight. Because this morning was just awful. Oh. So.
You guys went the long haul, did you?
God, we went till like 6, and then I was talking to Nick because I had some questions about some things I was trying to do. And by the time I looked at my clock, it was like 7:30. And my girlfriend's like, "You need to feed the dog," and I'm like, "Uh-oh, this is bad." So,
well, that's after the Brooks trial got finished, and I actually could sleep at night.
yeah.
I remember just thinking, what do I do tonight? It's 11 o'clock, and I have nothing to do.
Oh, Ladybug Lisa saying, "Are you going to stream after this?"
No.
Hmm.
Nope, it's my weekend. This evening is when I get all my shit together for the week and make my thumbnails and preload the
Ah.
streams and
There you go.
my
Yeah, I
Sunday
need
relaxing
to
time.
do that because I was like, I don't do that. I kind of I kind of do them as I go. I need to pre-do that work.
Yeah, I got tired of doing it. So because I'm always operating in panic mode. So I just had to get it all
That's-
done on Sunday to where I can just chill.
All right. All right. Well, that is it, guys. Thank you again for being here. Everybody subscribe, members, super chats, people who watch me. Apparently they thought I died for a second when I fell asleep. All of that. And then Jeff, thanks for being here. Guys, Legal Vices,
Thanks
please
for having me.
please hit them up on and that's it. So remember, guys, until next time, just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty unless you got a can of gas in your fucking backpack.